We're live. Here we go. Alrighty, we are live on Halloween evening. Smallmouth Crush coming to you. I got Smallmouth Crush this side behind me right here, Travis Manson. We're gonna have a great show tonight. No one has any clue where this is going to go. Where it's going to go. We have a myriad of guests coming on. We got BTC, we got Dave Brodzik, Matt Pengrack, maybe Epic Eric. We got Brody of the Lake. We got Vampire Travis here behind me. It's gonna be a great night tonight, folks. I'm here dressed as Uncle Rico. We're going to have a really fun time. Like I said 3 times before, we really don't know where this is going to go. Travis is here ready to roll. So I'm excited to have this fun show with you guys here tonight. And I'm just hoping that we don't go too far off of the rails, but that is a little bit of our goal here tonight. So I do appreciate all of you taking some time out tonight, tuning in with us on your Halloween evening. We're going to do our best to entertain you here for the next couple hours and definitely have a pretty fun time along the way. I already see some comments coming in, on the backdrop. So Chase Hunter, one of the Smallmouth Crush viewers, sent this in to me a while back. I figured tonight would be the perfect night to debut it. We got the Smallmouth Crush podcast vampire version. Travis Manson here behind me did a great job on the edit. He's even got the smallmouth in his hand with the blood coming out of it. I know it's a little hard to see here behind me, but yeah, we're planning on having a good night here and really excited to get this kicked off with you guys here. So we got a lot of usuals in the house here. We love to see that. We got Wild Bill, Darius King, M. Jones, JP Harrell, of course, Wave Currents and Ice. Already got a compliment on the stash. I think I'm up to about 49 here on the Smallmouth Crush podcast. Really appreciate the stash comments, guys. I'm going to try to keep it growing and flowing as long as I can here. But yeah, like I said, glad to see everyone in here with us tonight. Of course, before we do get too far into the show, if you do have a chance, please like and share the feed. That really helps us out with the algorithm. So yeah, that's our intro, guys. I'm excited to get started here. We got Travis and Brody of the Lake here backstage. Travis wants everyone to appreciate the backdrop, and I don't blame him. Chase did a great job on this. I know he worked with one of his buddies, and I'll definitely have to break it out for a couple more shows as we go along here. He did an amazing job with it. Yeah, more familiar names in the house. We love to see it. Tom, John. If you guys are new too, first time tuning in, please drop your name in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear that as well. And while you're typing away in the comments, let us know what you dressed as for here this Halloween. We always like to see what everyone's dressed up as. Like I said, I'm Uncle Rico. I think you might be able to guess what Travis dressed up as, and we'll see what our guests decide to dress up here as the night goes along. Well, man, I did not think I could talk for that long without tripping over my words too much. I'm pretty impressed with myself. So, man, it's going to be a good show tonight here. I think I'll go ahead. And Travis, you want to come in yet, or do you want to? Here he comes. All righty. Get your garlic out, folks. He's ready to roll. There he is. I don't know if he can talk with those things in his mouth.
No, I absolutely cannot. And I'll tell you this. First and foremost, Alex, unbelievable. Your introduction, you deserve a pay raise. I don't know who you need to talk to in this company, but unreal. Now, I was going to give you shit because, it's Halloween special. We had no special Halloween intro, just the usual. I was going to say something funny like, well, I guess the intern was too busy this weekend. But coming up with that backdrop, you nailed it, bro.
Thank you, man. I've had it for a while. I've always been waiting on the perfect time to debut it. I thought about doing it a couple of times when BTC had us up late, but knowing it was Halloween tonight and I knew you were dressed up as the vampire, I figured, man, this is the night to do it.
Listen, I don't know how to put makeup on, and this ain't right. This isn't what a vampire's face is supposed to look like. I get it. I ran into some problems. I was rushed, and it is what it is. This is about as good as you're going to get. This is probably the first time I've dressed up since, 2013, I'm guessing, Halloween in Madison, Wisconsin. unbelievable times. But
Absolutely.
I think we got a great show coming up. I don't know where it's going to go. Epic Eric got the invite. He said he was going to be here. I lost communication with him about 2 hours ago. So I have no idea. Maybe he had second thoughts. Maybe he's like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the time for me to make my appearance. The weird thing with Eric is we walked through the scenarios yesterday as I was grocery shopping, and I said, Eric, this is going to be perfect. At any time I start going off, you just make your exit, bro. Ain't a big deal. I thought we had it planned out. So there's still a little lack of communication between Eric and I. That is for certain.
Absolutely.
And so hopefully in the future we can kind of hash that out. But kind of let me down again here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully he joins us here. But Travis, I'm sure, like you just mentioned, there's probably a lot of people wondering this. You said you were grocery shopping yesterday. Where were you grocery shopping, and what were you shopping for on a Saturday afternoon?
So I had to go to the grocery store because I want to get some ice cream and some White Claws. So anytime I go to the grocery store, unless it's for a fishing trip where I'd get my smoked tuna, my avocados, stuff like that. I have a little trail mix. I have a little stuff I like to buy when I go on the road. If I'm at home, it's White Claw and ice cream, bro.
Heck yeah, man. You got a lot of trick-or-treaters knocking down your door this evening, or was that last night in your neighborhood?
No, I think we're doing it tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anyone out there.
Well, if someone starts banging on the garage door, we'll know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we do have a lot of good regulars in the chat tonight. We appreciate you guys joining us here on Halloween. I think M. Jones said it best. The best shows, we never have any idea what the heck is going to happen.
I know it's going to get serious tonight. I really do. Some of the guests that we have lined up should be pretty interesting. But our first guest has never made an appearance on the Smallmouth Crush live stream. Really, YouTube videos, nothing. Like, I talk to him quite a bit. Every month or so over the phone, we have long conversations about whether it be fishing or the current state of things happening in the country. And it's always enjoyable. He brings a pretty cool perspective. Awesome dude. Caught me off guard tonight.
Oh, yeah. His costume's way better than both of ours combined.
Oh, yeah.
Way better.
Big time. So let's bring him in.
There he is.
Brody. Hello? Go ahead, caller. You're live.
Thought I was asleep, didn't you? How's it going, fellas?
Dude, what are you? You're a pirate, I assume.
Yes. I am. I am. What would you say? Brody of the Lake's locker is where I spend most of my time. At the bottom of the depths of fishing gear. And as you notice, I'm actually in my wife's office. This isn't my ship. This is my wife's ship. Because my equipment on the old Black Pearl is dinosaur equipment compared to what she uses here. So I've overtaken her boutique.
So Brody, you have the largest, I still think it's one of the, or maybe it is the largest fishing store on eBay that's been going on for quite some time.
I don't know if I'm the largest now, but I've been doing it for 22 freaking years.
Older than me.
Lake started for me to actually go fishing. I walked away from a suit and tie job January 1st, 2000, told them, go screw themselves, and I'm going to go fishing. That same year, I kind of made the state team, and I couldn't participate because my employer wouldn't let me. And that was kind of the day I, ventured out on my own, and I've never looked back. And it's been an awesome ride to the bottom of the depths of the lagoon. Anyway, that's where I'm at.
Very good. Very good.
Well, Brody, I have to say,
I can sign everybody's stuff when they change sponsorships, retire, unfortunately, maybe even pass away. Those families and those anglers use my my store and the 20-some years that we've been doing it to liquidate it and move it all over the world. And we sell it for either charity or for retirement. We do, all kinds of stuff. And I say we because it's just me. but 22 years of doing it, and I'm thankful. PMA with Gerald Swindle. Me and him have been doing that now for probably 5 years. For the 25 years I've been doing this, and so it's pretty neat to log in every morning and help him ship out his stuff for his promotions, and some of the other anglers I'll do that for as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I do every day. You can check me out, BrodyTheLake.com, or you can go to eBay, Brody the Lake. I see you got it up there, man. Nice.
Sir.
You really never know what I'm going to have. And that's kind of what makes my store interesting is I add new items every week. And I never know really what clients are coming through. But I've worked with, probably 9 or 10 Bassmaster Classic winners, at least 9 or 10 Angler of the Years, probably more than that, at least 50 of the top 100 anglers in the world or FLW people, huge sponsorships from the Crown Royal sponsor, Coca-Cola, win all that memorabilia and stuff.
What was your biggest haul, man?
My biggest haul was actually Denny Brower. When Denny Brower retired, he brought me out to his place, and actually I was fishing. Me and you, Travis, were on the tour that year, and we just finished up. And Denny had made the decision in New York that he was no longer going to fish. And I think there was an all-star weekend that weekend. And it was after the tour was over, and we went out there. And after me and you worked that all-star weekend, I drove on out to his place. And I thought he was going to have a U-Haul. And it was the largest U-Haul you could get. It was like basically a half a semi truck full of stuff. And it took me 3.5 years to sell it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dang. I remember that all-star. Is that where they vote for the most popular angler?
Yes. Yeah. Most popular angler. Yes. It was a call-in vote, supposedly. I guess from what I understand that maybe those selections may have already been made prior to the voting. But
they could have been.
That ownership is 6 feet under now, so we'll never know.
Jeez, bro. Oh goodness. Yes.
Yeah. So Denny was probably my largest load. Some of the first loads were actually when I was out west, and I was just fishing as a co-angler, and I met Byron Velvick and Aaron Martins the year before when they did away with the West Coast, and they brought all those guys out here, and hell, they'd never been out here at all. They just were just now qualifying from the West Coast. And so when I went out there, Byron and all these guys had just giant, huge amounts of tackle that they would never, ever even use in their lifetime. And hell, that's 20 years ago. And so Byron's just like, you think you can sell some of this stuff? And that's right when I was just getting on eBay. And at that time, I wasn't selling fishing stuff. I was selling antiques. I was running ads in Cincinnati Enquirer, Columbus Dispatch. I'd crawl through your attic when your dad died, and I'd find out what your stuff was worth and put it online and make a consignment. And that's what I was doing. And then Byron's just like, dude, you sell all this fishing shit. And I never looked back. And here I am 22 years later, I'm blessed actually. Yeah.
Nice. We definitely would like to have you come back at a different setting in the future on the live stream and maybe dig in and talk some of the stories. I'm sure you have some incredible stories of baits and different things you've come across over all the years as far as fishing gear. And I definitely want to do that. So let's make it a point later this winter, Brody, to get you back on.
We can do that.
And talk about it. Tonight's theme, though, we're trying to stay away from the Cinco and buzzbait talk. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We got to hear about some creepy creepies out there.
For sure. And I knew Brody would be a great guest for this because before the show, his main concern was, can I go grab my beer real quick? Can I go get the beer real quick? Like, yes, please. Go get your beer. That's what we're going for tonight. Go grab that stuff. So I know Brody's going to be a good one to have in here tonight. So should be pretty fun.
What are you drinking?
Some Guinness.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
about all I drink anymore. I like a good dark beer.
Awesome.
A little nitrous in there, you know.
Nitrous. What are we talking about?
Yeah, when you pop the can,
Okay.
you can hear that nitrous ball.
Yeah,
in
that
there.
little
I don't.
golf ball. Yeah.
I got no idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
Too dark for me. Too dark for me.
Coffee. Nah.
Ooh.
Oh man.
I want to mess up my makeup.
That's all right. Tell me a creepy story, man.
Dude, I think I have probably one of the most creepiest stories ever. It's not a UFO story.
Right.
It's not a big wolf or you know, panther, you know, in the wild or something like that. I've had a couple alligator stories. I might get into that if we have other time. But in 2006, that was probably the most craziest year for me, due in part to that's when I left the non-boater deal, was kind of knighted by Fishburne out west with the Brody of the Lake name and everything, because he couldn't pronounce my last name right, and it sounded like Brody of the Lake when he said it. So he just said that. And I had real long hair, and Byron had real long hair, and he used to call me his squire. So that's kind of where, you know, Brody of the Lake, and we knight you on stage, blah blah blah. Back then, you had to like, you know, you almost had to apprentice under somebody to get your tour cards, and those tour cards meant something. So when you worked your way up through the co-angler position and then got your tour card to be a boater on the opens, it was like, wow, that was special. Now, fuck, you know, you just pull out your wallet. You know, doesn't even matter if you've ever even driven a boat. But anyway, let's get back to the story of 2006. So I you know, there again, I was blessed to meet these guys and run with some of the best anglers in the world before anybody even really knew who Skeet Reese was, you know, and Byron, and we're all staying in houses and driving from Clear Lake to Columbia River and all these crazy places out west, and I got to learn all that, and then, you know, that few years went through, and I traveled everywhere with Byron actually, and we just fished everywhere. It was just remarkable, the places that we went and the things that I learned and the confidence that I built during that time. So by 2006, I was ready to hit the opens, and we had a huge dealer in the Cincinnati area, Plaps Pro Outdoors, and they immediately sponsored me, gave me a boat with Triton. Mercury was right on board, and then wham, you get a wrap, Brody. You know, we want you to have one of the first wraps. So, you know, I come up with an idea, this backdrop, and I use this movie theme, and I love battle scenes, by the way. So it was a battle scene. So we do this giant battle scene on my boat and truck, and I take off for the 2006 opens. Well, before then, good buddy of mine, Byron, he was investing some property down in Amistad. So I'd never been down there. So we take off to Amistad. So it's like the first time I, you know, ever been to this giant lake that far away from home. I've been to Alabama, Florida, you know, some parts of Texas, but to go to the freaking Mexican border was a huge thing for a dude from Ohio. So get down there. We're really not fishing a tournament, and I'm just preparing for the next year, because I think the next year there's a tournament down there at the same time. So it was just like, hey, me and Tidrow went down there. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so we get down there, we fish. We decided that we're going to go way up the lake. I think the place is called Box Canyon. And you're driving through this giant canyon, and the walls kind of close in, and it goes on into this place called Cow Creek. Well, we always run all the way to the back and then work our way back out. Well, as we run all the way back, I wanted to go left, but something told me to go right. And so I went right, and we just kind of stopped. We start fishing, and as I'm going down the bank, I see this Adidas shirt. And it's kind of like this orange yellow Adidas shirt. And as I get closer, I'm like, man, this is a body. This is a dead fucking body. And sure enough, it was. It was a dead body. So now I'm in the middle of nowhere. You got to remember, back then we had very little internet. You know, you had the flip phone and all that stuff. So I had no idea what to do. I didn't even know if I was in Mexico. I didn't, when you get over, you just, I don't know, what do you do? Ah.
Yeah.
So I kind of marked the spot, and I was like, hey, we're already here. Let's continue fishing.
Right.
And it started bothering me, but it was just like, man, we drove like 28 freaking miles to get here. So there's only like one marina at the time then that was, that you really wanted to park at. And so I figured, let's drive to where I can get some range, and I'll call Byron. And so I get to where, and I can't get a hold of him, but I flagged down somebody, and we wind up getting some authorities and everything. But anyway, dead body.
Yeah.
What a way to start the year,
Right.
So, so I pack everything up, wrap boat truck up. We take off. Kentucky Lake. I think that's the first event of the year. And that year, Bassmaster went to this 5 events in the opens. And they were all over the place. It was just like no rhyme or reason. I don't know why they call it the Northerns. Here we are starting in Kentucky Lake. And so we take off to Kentucky. And there is a tour event there beforehand. And I fished the tour event as a co-angler, because back then they had co-anglers. And Mercury sponsored me, by the way. But anyway, fished that. I don't think I did well. But anyway, it gave me some ideas of where to go, obviously, in the opens.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to fish. We went out of Dam Village on the Kentucky side, and I decided to run through the cut and go into Barkley, run down to the Little River where the state park is, Barkley State Park. You actually drive by the lodge, and as you're running back that river, it narrows down. I mean, really, really freaking tight. Almost, I would say, maybe 5 boat lengths at most. And there's 2 buoy markers there. And it's, slow your butt down. You go through there, no wake. Well, sometime in the middle of the night, the night before, I guess that would have been a Thursday night, a guy, at the time I didn't know, but a guy, they wrecked a boat there. So, but that morning I was one of the first boats out, and I ran into this boat wreck that must have happened at 4 or some a.m. in the morning. And here I come rolling in at 7. No one had found these people. This dude put, I think it was a bass cat. He put this bass cat probably 40, oh man, it was 40 yards up into this rock bluff, just demolished, just exploded. And so I saw that first. And then I'm like slowing down, and there's debris and shit land and floating all over the water. And boom, there's one body. Boom, there's 2 bodies. I'm like, what do you do? Both of them were wearing life jackets. And the girl was up. She was face up, and I could still kind of see her face. Here it is, 15 years later. I can still remember that day. And the guy, I never really made contact with him. I could just see him over there, and I was just like, hey, there's 2 bodies. Well, at that time, we had cell, and next thing I know, there's just helicopters and everything, and I'm trying to fish in the back. Well, then all of a sudden they close off that area, and then I can't exit. So I'm calling Chris Bose, saying, dude, they got me locked in back here. And, I'd already reported that I had found these bodies, so they knew what was going on. It was crazy, dude. So needless to say, I don't remember where I finished an event. Even if I did cash a check, I don't think so. Because then again, they closed that whole area. You couldn't even fish there. And I spent all my time practicing in the Little River and thought I could win the damn thing. So now we're at 3 dead bodies.
Wow.
In less than 3 months. All right. So we're like, oh, well, moving on. On to the next one.
Right.
So we roll on out, and I think we go to the Mississippi River on Fort Madison. Fort Madison, where's that at? Iowa?
Fort Madison? Sounds like it.
Sure.
We'll go with it.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at. And that place is a shithole anyway. But anyway, it's one of the lower pools from the good pools up north. And there was a huge flood there the year before. So there's just crap everywhere, just people's boats and stuff's half sunken everywhere you go. And you're like worried that you're just going to tear the crap out of your boat every time you run into anywhere that you ran. You thought you were going to run into something there. And so, back then we'd always use the ramps way on up. Well, I decided I'm going to lock through, but instead of locking through that last day of practice, I'm going to drive up there and I'm just going to check this last area. Well, we get up to that marina that morning and it's kind of foggy, and I know I have a short day anyway. And, but when we get there, there's like 30 freaking boats there and all these sheriff cars and all this shit. And we're like, what the hell, And Tidrow's driving and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and the sheriff comes up to the door, and I'm thinking, maybe we shouldn't use this ramp. Maybe they're doing some, I don't know what they're doing. We should get out of here. But anyway, they're like, hey, would you guys help us find a body? We got, a fisherman fell out of his boat, older man. We believe he had a life jacket on. He's somewhere from the dam down. And, he's, do you have a map? And, sure enough, back then we used paper maps, and he was just like, why don't you guys take this section, blah, blah, blah. Well, the whole time Tidrow is just like, well, this dude right here, he'll find him. He's already found 3 this year. And that sheriff was just like, what? He's like, looking at me, because I got real long hair and crazy looking, and just like I'll do right now.
Right.
And anyway, so I don't think anything about it, put the boat in. I was like, man, let's run up to the dam. There's 2 pockets up there. I want to check that. I want to see, if we can get a bite around any of the tail race out of there, just let's check all this, get back so we can get to the freaking meeting. Because I know I'm going to be fishing up here and I just need more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So no sooner we put in, I take off, we're running up the freaking river. Oh, there he is. Ain't no shit, dude. There he was. I found him. All those people, 200 people there looking for this dude. They've been looking a day and a half for him. I'm not even there 10 minutes. And now I'm at number 4. Number 4. So, yeah. So what do you do? What do you do when that happens?
Dude, I don't know.
I can't imagine that.
So you got to remember, I'm fishing a Bassmaster tour. So everybody there knows this. Chris Bowes, even Trip Weldon, all the girls, Gretchen, Janet Bell, all the people that worked back then. They all know, like, what the hell is going on with Brody?
Yeah.
Because there again, he's got this awesome looking wrap truck and boat with this killer looking battle seat on it. All right. Telling you. So anyway, I think it's the last event of the year. And we head up to your area there, Travis. We go on Lake Champlain. First time I was ever up there. Beautiful country. Adirondack Mountains. Love that stuff, dude. Love it. I was really into the nostalgia of your lake monster up there. I'd like to hunt him. But anyway, there again, we're up there for a Bassmaster event, and I've never been there. And I teamed up with a guy named Terry Bloom out of Florida, and we figured we would eliminate water together. Seemed to be working, for a couple other events. And I think it is Tuesday night. We're watching the news at the hotel, and it's like beep, beep, beep. And that year is like one of the first years they had Amber Alert. Amber Alert. There's like this 9-year-old missing boy. They don't know if he's abducted. They don't know if he's run away. They just don't know what's happened to this little boy. So we get up next morning. We go fishing. Fish a couple areas. Man, the smallmouth we were up around. I'm trying to think exactly where this area was. but I know we fished Windmill up around where they call Windmill, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up that section of the lake. And then we come back towards the left where there's some big sheer bluff walls. Again, big bluffy walls. And I went to one end. I'm fishing that point. Rev went to the other end. And we're going to meet in the middle. Well, we don't even get to the middle. And there's this poor little boy laying right. He's not really in the water, but he's like, you know, kind of on the beach, but there's no beach there because it's like a sheer bluff wall, dude. I mean, 100-foot freaking wall. And I'm thinking, did he fall from the wall? I didn't know that it turned out to be the kid that was an Amber Alert. And I wound up finding this kid. And so there again, you know, I missed all that day of practice, had to sit there and wait for the sheriff and the Coast Guard, and the helicopters are all flying over. And so we go to the meeting that night, and I'm sitting in the back. And Chris Bose is up there starting the meeting, and I remember him like looking over, you know, to see where I was at, and he was, you know, and he was like, "Was Brody? Was that you on the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me on the news with number 5,
Dang.
5 dead bodies in 1 year." Fishing on the Bassmaster Tour. That's my claim to fame because I sucked anywhere else doing anything.
That's crazy.
100% true. 100% true.
Wow.
All happened in 2006. Yeah.
So I got a question. So you said like in your Kentucky Lake, you ran over the Barkley side. You're trying to go back in that cut, and it's 7 a.m. You just run back there, and you see a bass cat halfway up a bluff wall. What's your first reaction? Because I would think it's early in the morning. There's got to be boat pieces and stuff just everywhere in the water. What the heck did you think was going on?
It looked like someone. It looked like it exploded. You know, there was pieces everywhere. And then all of a sudden you see a life jacket. And then, when someone's dead in the water, that's all you really see is a life jacket, to be honest with you, because that's all it's floating, you know. So her head was back like that, and, you know, she's out, you know, and the water's kind of stained in Barkley too. So, you know, and it's dark. It's still pretty dark. And it's kind of, you know, we had some fog kind of that morning, probably shouldn't have sent us out. And I don't think that's what caused that. It turned out there were 5 people in that bass boat. There was some big convention or something going on at that lodge. And they all jumped in that boat to go somewhere. Turns out, I think it was actually one of the DNR's sons and his wife. It was actually his wife that got killed. And one of their other people that was one of the realtors, I believe. I remember reading the story because I was like part of it, you know. Yeah. Like, hey, Bassmaster angler Brody Broderick finds, you know, wreckage. You know, it was horrible. You know, that was how I started that tour season, and I never, you know, I only seen one other dead body in my life. You know, to actually, you know, at that time I was at 3. Yeah, it was like, whoa, you know, what the hell's going on? Because here again, let's go back to my rap. And this is where the whole story kind of ends, is the rap was from a movie in 2005 with Orlando Bloom, and it was called Kingdom of Heaven. So it's kind of weird to run the Kingdom of Heaven rap and find 5 dead bodies.
Man, that is crazy.
Man, I can't imagine. I will say, though, one thing I noticed from every story you told was life jacket, life jacket, life jacket. I think that kind of, you know, those people might not have made it, unfortunately, but I still think that does speak to the importance of always wear your kill switch.
I don't think I would have ever found those people if they didn't have a life jacket. Actually, the Amistad guy didn't have a life jacket on. He had 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of jeans, and 3 T-shirts on. And one of them happened to be that Adidas shirt that I seen on top. And I didn't understand, you know, what's it, you know. And I remember talking to the girl, and she's like, you know, they do that so they can strip their clothes off, you know, if they get spotted. You know, they get seen in a yellow shirt. You know, they strip that shirt off, add another one, and yeah, so it was kind of weird. And what happened when they pulled him out of the water? His second pair of pants had somehow like, you know, went down his legs to the point where it almost like restricted him from swimming. And I think that's might have been his demise. Was actually he was wearing 2 pairs of jeans. Jeez. I don't know, but it, you know, there again, I was just an Ohio boy sitting on the Mexican border for the first time in my life, and then find a body.
Man.
Crazy. Did I ever tell you that, Travis?
No.
Body stories?
Not.
Man.
No.
It's a good way to start the Halloween show, I guess.
I mean, I have some pretty cool memories with you, Brody.
You do?
I mean, yeah. How about that night? How about the night Aaron Martins was in her room? Sad what's happening now, but back in that, I mean, we had fun together, dude.
He loved your shoes, if I remember
correctly. He did.
I think he had a new pair of shoes that day.
Man. Oh, the stories we have. Because we were pretty tight. We hung out. We traveled. We stayed together a lot of those places for about 2 years or so.
Yeah, we even worked together to, and you should have cashed a check with me when we were at Okeechobee. We had to work so hard to get to where we were fishing.
I remember that. How did that even come about, dude?
That was like, there again, that was like all the new stuff. And it's like, you could go online and Google Earth. You know, that was like the first year of Google Earth. That's how we found that place. Remember, we actually drove and found a ramp and put in at that ramp.
Yep.
And then me and you spent an entire day trying to figure out how to get from where we were out to the main damn lake. Mm-hmm. So we could get, you know, and we got on great fish back there, and it was a great payday for me. And if I remember correctly, you lost
I had them
all the fish you needed to
yes, I remember.
So, but cheers to you, brother, because I would have never been able to do that. And remember, I got stuck. What was it? The second day? Got stuck on this bog. I don't know what it was, but I got stuck on it. And there again, if I wouldn't have been back, you know, there, which is weird. You're in the elites, and most people think, you know, it's so cutthroat and stuff. But man, there's a lot of guys working together in certain team type of things like that. And where me and Travis were catching those fish, you almost needed 2 guys back there. I mean, you could really screw up where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You had to wear helmets and stuff to get through some of that stuff, or it would slice your face from the buggy whips.
Dude,
because there's no channel. We made the channel, you know. So
that was that was probably one of the most crazy. I mean, the fact that we had such good amount of fish back there.
That the 2 of us could go in there.
Remember the alligators, bro, that lived in that place?
That's what I wanted to ask. Has anyone or have you 2 ever run through those buggy whips? Is that someone's had to go on over an alligator at some point, right? You would think.
Well, we remember it, Brody. Wasn't like the killing field. Like, remember there was like a giant alligator. Do you remember the alligator that ate like everything?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about in that field?
Yeah. It was like a bone factory back there. Remember?
Yeah.
There were bones like everywhere. I mean, like big hip bones and it just picked clean. You know, and you just knew, you'd get that feeling. It's just like, there's a monster in here. And when you asked me, Travis, to be on the show, and you said, you remember any monster stories? And that's the only one I can remember. Is that gator story that me and you had. Because, dude, there is something back there.
Yeah.
It's prehistoric.
Right.
I mean, to literally drag cows, full-grown cows in the water.
The place we're talking about is at least at the time was extremely secluded. When we're talking about getting away in there from the main lake was almost impossible. We were the first to blaze a trail into there. I mean, and who knows how long. Unless there's other ways in, I don't know.
Well, see, I had that aluminum boat back then, so I could plow that stuff over, and then Travis would just come right through. But
do you remember running through that though on full speed? How stupid that was,
dude! It was insane. It was totally insane. Some of that whole trip was insane.
The grass was not 5 feet.
$500 insane trip for me.
The grass wasn't 4 or 5 feet tall. It was like 20 feet tall. You had no idea. I mean,
it was like trees. It was a jungle. Like you were going through. And the first day was the most scary because that's where you kind of had to wear a helmet and stuff because that stuff.
I remember. Yes.
It was just. I mean, it would knock you out running through there, and you had to stay straight to stay in our line. But by the time I got through to the final cut day or whatever that I made,
dude, didn't you miss the corner?
We had it down. We had it cut down pretty good.
Bro, you missed the corner. You missed the turn.
I missed the turn.
I had to pull you off the bank.
Up on that freaking mud bog, and then Travis is coming right behind me, and he's shut down. He's already laughing, and but it took us a little bit to get off of there. You pulled me off.
Dang.
So I gotta ask though, what made you guys want to go back there in the first place? I mean,
$10,000. Period.
Was it
maybe 100,000?
Right? Did you see? I
mean, that good. It was that good.
So that's when I was curious. Though, did you see something on like a Google Earth? Was it a paper map that you knew? Okay,
the first years of Google Earth, and we found it on there. And I was like, man, that's a ramp right there. And we blew it up, and there was like, yeah, that's a ramp. Let's put it in back there and see if let's go in there and just see if
it's worth it.
Yeah.
And so we get in there, and instead of seeing if we can get out the main lake, we obviously fished, and it was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And we're like, now we got to get out to the main lake. That's basically what.
Okay.
Yeah. We went in there, fished. We were like, holy shit, we can.
I wish I knew. Brody, I mean, there's so much I would have done different back then, I mean, literally that day was probably, that tournament was probably the first time I punched in my life,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So for me to be punching with who knows what I was using, I mean, I probably was a St. Croix big jig, which was a good rod.
What I was throwing, that was, there again.
You were reaction, dude. You were horny toe and spinnerbait, and I remember that.
Yeah, I was, that year I was throwing, a lot of guys were throwing that Big Easy. Remember that? It was a gambler bait. Big. It was pretty big. It was like 5.5 inches. And then another one was Big Easy Junior. Yeah, it was a little smaller. But that was the year I met the Berries, Mike and Art Berry. Well, I had met Art Berry out west when I was fishing out west, and Art was like the suave boat. He was really being pretty successful on the FLW tour. Well, at the time, his brother moved from out west and was just living down the street from me. And that's when those guys bought Eagle swim baits and had California swim babes. And that was the first year that the Slippery E came out, and I was throwing that Slippery E. And it was pretty cool to actually help kind of design something like that, and then actually, catch those fish down there on that.
Mm. Dang.
You should have cashed a check with me. I was so mad. Travis was screaming most of the day because I know you missed so many fish, and I think it was a lot to do with you were punching with such a heavy weight because that grass in there was really thick, if I remember right.
Yep.
And like you said, it was like one of the first times you ever punched, and when you pop the hammer, them fish, and your bobber stopper doesn't stop that weight. And that's what was happening to Travis. Yeah. He was running a single, when a lot of times you want to double up or if not triple when you got an ounce and a half. It would throw that weight up, and it would pop that hook out in fish's mouth. And
wow,
cost Travis probably $11,000 that day.
Jeez. Crazy. Yeah, I remember it.
I was probably more disappointed that he didn't cash a check in there with me than I was happy that I had cashed one, because we worked so freaking hard together to do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was one of those deals.
Crazy. Well, we're gonna take a we got a super fan here in the house. We're gonna bring him on real quick. I think he's got a ghost story to share with us. Super fan. Who are you? Bro, do you know who that is?
I run a Puma. I'm a bass cat. I mean, what else am I going to be? Oh, plus, my girlfriend Kinder happened to have a leftover cat out of it. And I was told I wasn't allowed to be on the show without a costume. So here we are.
Oh, man.
Looking great. Looks like my cat.
I remember those days covering Brody of the Lake on the Bassmaster Elite Series. I still don't think he knows who it is.
Yeah, I know.
Is it that disturbing? Because I only looked at myself in the mirror once, and now that I see myself in the 4-box, it's kind of disturbing.
It is.
I thought this was like a tag on me of being the cat guy. I thought a lot of guys knew that Brody left the tour, and he's a cat guy now. You know, he like feeds 25 cats.
You do like cats.
Whoa.
Do you really?
Oh,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Really? Mark Jeffries has a pet cat. He believes it's his like best friend from high school. No, the one he's got in the box. Yeah.
He should be on the show right now talking about that story.
I have two reincarnated spirit cats as well.
He has a reincarnated spirit cat, but the weird thing is the guy he thinks it's reincarnated isn't dead. He thinks it's just his friend who now lives in California that has transferred his soul to this dead cat. So he has a reincarnated cat spirit of a fully alive individual sitting on his windowsill.
Why does he put it on his windowsill?
The eyeshadow might have taken it a step too far.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
So no, I want to hear. We had some great times. Some of the best times I had with you was probably when we were doing that poker deal.
Poker deal.
Yeah.
The fish and chips.
Yes, the fish and chips. That was probably the funnest thing that I've ever did in the fishing realm. And I know a lot of anglers, even like Skeet Reese and Van Dam. We've had this discussion before. I think you guys should do that again. That was really, really fun.
We've been working on trying to bring it back. It's just Jeffries is doing a lot of coaching, and he's the guy who does all of it mainly. Yeah. So as soon as he's got some time, do I have to do this, or can I just put my hands down?
I like it.
He started it now.
as soon as he has time, we are going to bring back fish and chips.
Tell the fans. I mean, hell, what was that, 10 years ago at least?
It was a combination. It was a point system. You would have 2 days of fishing, and you would have either a poker pro or an amateur paired with an elite series or FLW pro, and then you'd get your points from fishing, and then you would have an angler only poker tournament where based on where you got knocked out, you got points, and then the overall champion got, I think it was anywhere from $25,000 to $10,000 depending on how many boats we had in it. But yeah, I should have won that the last year until Fred Rambanis, my partner, called a 4-card straight, and we lost by half a point.
Oh.
Yeah, there's supposed to be 5 cards in a straight.
There's that one.
I don't hold a grudge though. I'm over it.
I fished with Chris Hines. He actually owns a wrap company down in Kentucky, and you remember him? He's the one that he's missing his left arm, but he has like a prosthetic that had that big claw on it. And I was crankbait fishing, and I had like 2 or 3 fish that one day. And I remember instead of grabbing for the net, he like grabbed that fish with his claw. I mean, it was just like, boom, brought it right in the boat.
Like through its head, like a gaff?
Harpooned it.
He gaffed it?
No, he
like a grouper?
Freaking grabber. And,
okay.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, dude, Chris Hines, he's an incredible fisherman, man.
You'd be DQ'd though, right? Yeah. I mean, especially if you're fishing the
open.
No, you can't use that.
Remember Swindle kept saying he's like Brody's fishing with the one-arm bandit. Yeah, that's what they were calling him there. It was his nickname. I think we finished like 15th or 16th because Chris finished like 4th in the poker that one year, and I think Boyd Duckett was way up there in the final table, but. Yeah, those were great. It was so much fun because I've never really been to a casino, so I'm kind of dumb, and so I can walk around and be one of those guys that always wins at the casino.
Mm-hmm.
So that one night, I won like $5,800.
Holy cow!
Yeah, me and Skeet were playing 3-card poker, and I wound up not really knowing what I was doing, and Skeet was kind of telling helping me along, and I won like $5,800 that one night. So it made the
that's a deal.
Trip. Yeah,
Jeez.
Travis, why don't you have a costume on?
Funny. So listen, I wanted to get Matt on because I reached out to him. We were just talking the other day, and I said, he's like, well, what's going on with you? Like I said, we got special live Sunday. We're going to do like a Halloween special. I got a couple people coming on. Actually, we got some awesome guests coming up here soon.
Yes.
But Matt's like, I got a story. I go, well, don't tell me. It better be good. And I'd love to hear about it on the live show. So Matt, you got the floor. Set the stage, man. Where are we at? Talk to me.
Well, I had never told Travis this one before, and it actually happened at an event that I roomed with him at, that 2019 Costa Championship, which the real scary nightmare didn't happen till the day after it ended. But moving on, we start there, and it's Cumberland, so we're in Kentucky, right? And I have not told you this just because I think
Kentucky, by the way, Kentucky's land of the giant. There was giant humanoids that lived in Western Kentucky. And Brody, you might know something about this. We can talk later. Yes, absolutely.
How long ago?
Oh, they're saying 300, 400, 500 years ago.
Humanoids, but not humans.
What's the difference?
Is it longer than that?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a human and a humanoid?
Well, I just like to call them humanoids. It sounds good. Anyways, keep going with your story. I'm sorry.
So the first day of practice, the bottom end's like really rocky, a lot of bluffy stuff like that. So the first day of practice, I decide that I'm going to put in as far as I can up the river, and it's kind of it's just a flatter area, and I find a ramp, like you guys were mentioning on Google Earth, and it's really foggy there that time of the year, but it was like super clear. I remembered it's a gravel road, and I was like, I would never have found this ramp if it hadn't been for the fact that it wasn't foggy, because the night before when I got in, it was foggy, and I get there and the fog just socks in, like I can barely see the ramp and stuff. So I back my boat in, and I'm the only one. It's like this gravel ramp, and there's a kid, probably 12 or 13, and he's fishing next to the boat ramp, probably about 20, 30 feet off to the side of the boat ramp. So I just said, hey, man, you catching any? Because the official practice hadn't started. I got there like a day before official practice. And he looks at me and he just keeps fishing. And I thought maybe he was like ticked off that I was like, dumping the boat in there. He had been fishing on the dock or something like that. And I thought he hadn't heard me. I said, are they biting? And he just looks at me and he just keeps casting. So I dump my boat in, tie it off, go park. I'm the only boat there. And I go idle out. And I said, well, good luck. And I remember thinking, this guy's kind of a jerk for a freaking kid. Like thought he'd be excited to see like a guy at a big bass boat and stuff. And he just would look at me and cast, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So I go out and I fish for the day, and it sucks, and I only catch like 2 or 3. So I come in, and I'm still the only boat in the parking lot. It's probably like 4 or 5 now, because it gets a little bit darker early on. And I notice there's a bunch, probably like 4 or 5 cars down next to the gravel next to the ramp, and it looks like they're having some sort of ceremony. I thought it was like a baptism, to be honest with you, or something like that in Kentucky, right? So I tie my boat up, whatnot, and get out. I'm walking to get my truck, and a guy kind of peels off. He's probably like his mid-50s. He peels off. He comes over. He goes, hey, man, you fishing that? It was Costa back then. He goes, you fishing that Costa series? I said, yeah. He said, oh, you catching them? And I said, nah, not that great. I said, you fish here a lot? And he said, I used to fish a lot. And then I said, what's going on here? And he goes, that is the 10th year anniversary of the death of my son. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, dude. He said he drowned. We dropped him off to fish here, and he actually drowned while he was fishing. And he said, we come back every year and kind of do just a memorial for him or anything. And I said, oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. So he goes back, and I get my truck, and I beckon as I'm pulling up. Have you ever seen those like big wreaths that they have, and they put like the picture of the person who passed away inside of them? Well, they had one of those set up, and I'm serious here. The picture in the wreath of that kid was the kid who was fishing when I dumped my boat in that morning, and didn't ever speak to me when I spoke to him 3 times.
What, dude? What do you think of that, bro?
Whew.
Needless to say, I put in at the dam the next day and found the fish that I finished third on. It was like 60 miles away. And that's how I found the winning fish. I got as far away from that as I possibly could.
Whew.
And do you remember, Travis, when I came back in after the first night of practice?
No.
I remember how I was like,
striper.
No, that first, remember, I was like, you said how'd it go? And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. And you were like, dude, if you're freaking on him, we're supposed to be working together and all this stuff.
Right.
And I just had no desire to talk about anything. Like, because I was creeped out.
Travis just wanted his waypoints. He's like, what the hell is going on here?
Never said a word to me. And I remember thinking it was weird. He was like looking through me. And he just kept fishing. He just kept casting.
Brody, what do you think of that?
Ghost.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there again, let's look at what he was talking about there. That's a set time, at a set period. It's, you know, positive, negative energy. You know, Matt maybe did see something at that exact time. If it really, you know, if it was that same time, you know, that boy happened to pass away, slip on a rock, crash his head, whatever. You know, I'm all about positive, negative energy. And the more that you focus on the positive, the better the things happen around you. It's plain and simple. And if you focus on negative stuff, that too happens. Whether you can see dimensions around it, well, maybe if it's the right time and the right, you know, focus.
Yeah.
Dang,
Matt.
I like that one.
It's wild.
It is wild. Almost as wild as your outfit, man. Matt, by the way,
yes.
Did you see the backdrop behind Alex there?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
What is that? Is that like one of the Lost Boys from that vampire movie from long ago?
Like I said, that just looks like Travis to me. I don't know what everyone's talking about.
Remember that movie, Lost Boys, with like Kiefer Sutherland?
That's what Travis normally looks like, and then he puts on his human outfit.
Oh, jeez.
So.
Man. All right, comments are rolling in. I know this is a little different atmosphere tonight. Talking stories. We don't know where we're gonna venture off to. So far, so good. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Alex, any crazy questions? Anything you caught while we were talking ghost stories back there?
Do you want to know the creepiest part of it?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought
he was throwing. The kid was throwing a June bug crankbait. That's a joke.
That is. Good stuff.
We don't have too many questions or anything, just some good comments. Bo Judd says Travis looks more like an Oakland Raiders fan. Some stuff like that. Let's see here. Thomas Will says they look like Smokey and the Bandit. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. Well, listen, we got a couple. We got some. We got to get rolling here because we got some good stuff moving forward. Matt, do you want to hang out? Or what do you got to do? You got to take your makeup off, or what's your plan?
I'm good for whatever you feel like is the best option for the show here, Travis. I could stay here or I could go figure out how to take this stuff off.
Let's hang out for a little
bit.
Kinder
ask Matt one question.
Swears it'll come off. I was a little nervous about
Is she dressed up tonight? We got to see her outfit, of course.
Kinder is dressed up. She is she's dressed up as a nursing student studying for a big exam on Tuesday morning. So
fair enough.
She also said, "I will kill you if you bring me on." So
okay.
What's the dog dressed up like, Matt?
We dressed Gemma up like a spider and then took her to Grandma and Grandpa's house to trick or treat.
All right.
By the way, you also mentioned that the house you're in right now, somebody was murdered. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story for later. But
that is correct.
And you have the bullet hole in your bedroom to prove it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's bring our next guest on.
Brian Thrift. He made it. Fresh off his Pickwick top 10.
Woo! BTC.
What's up, guys?
Brian the Carpenter.
Hey, how you doing?
Looking good.
This guy here too?
Oh, yeah. That man said the funniest line in the history of Ike Live. He holds the crown.
What was it?
He told Drunkwood Inky he looked like Crocodile Gundy's gay cuck because he had a cowboy outfit on or something. He got mad at him. Hardest I've ever laughed on Ike Live show.
Yeah, that's a top 10 from Dave.
So I'm not even going to ask BTC what you're dressed up as. We got Dave also. I'm going to bring Dave on. Alex, I'm going to set you in the back real quick.
Travis, you didn't tell us we had to have costumes on.
He told me we had to.
I didn't get that.
You should have known.
I just got home like an hour ago.
Gotcha. Fair enough. You've been busy. Fishing. Lake, where were you? Noxahookin?
Yeah.
Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, is this a headset coming through?
Well, you sound like you're in a freaking spaceship, but we know that's not true because you can't get past the Van Allen belts.
Amelia
Earhart. You're in outer space.
So hold on. So this isn't working then, right?
Yeah, copy that. You're clear for takeoff. Keep talking. That's pretty cool, though. Say something funny, like you're trying to land a jet here. Very good pilot voice there.
This is like a $120 gaming headset, dude. You think I could just plug it into the phone and I'd be able to talk without, you know what I mean? Bugs Bunny to Earth.
Dave, BTC, I don't know if you know this creature above you. Brody of the Lake, world famous. And I think he's going to be able to add a little bit of discussion to the future conversations tonight. So I'm excited to see where this part of the show goes. We've already covered a little bit. We started off the show really with a body count. We're up to 6 dead bodies in 1 year. Brody found
5.
5. Okay.
Wow,
that's still quite a bit.
Yo,
Where'd you find dead bodies at?
I found 1 at Lake Amistad, 2 at Kentucky Lake, 1 at Fort Madison, Wisconsin, or Fort Madison, Iowa, and a little boy Amber Alert at Lake Champlain, all in 2006 during Bassmaster Open events.
You found a little kid on Champlain?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was horrible, dude. That's the worst one. That was the last one. But while I was telling the story, that was the year that my boat and truck were wrapped from the movie, the 2005 movie Kingdom of Heaven with Orlando Bloom.
Oof.
Yeah. So it was like I had this wrap, and then I find these bodies, and it's creepy.
Dude, that's a lot of bodies. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But Kingdom of Heaven was the Crusade movie, right?
Yeah. And that's why
yeah.
I picked it. It was like it was my crusade to make the elites, and that's why I picked that. And I guess it was the year before that or the year before that, I was out west and I was fishing as a non-boater, and I was Byron Belvick's non-boater, traveled everywhere with him for like 3 years. I think it was the last year that Fish Fishburne was with them, and Fish knighted me. I had real long hair, and Byron had real long hair, and they always called me his squire, and he knighted me on stage, Brody of the Lake. And then I .com'd it, and here I am 25 years later. Well, I mean, even though
that's a legit name, Brody of the Lake. Wow.
What's that?
I said that's a legit name, Brody of the Lake. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fish Fishburne. Thank you, Claude. Appreciate it, buddy.
You know, I'm surprised nobody in the comments wants to learn more about Matt's murder-suicide at the current house he's living in. If I learned about that, Matt, I'd be out. What keeps you there, man?
No, it's super mellow. It's beautiful out in the country. It happened a long time ago.
Jeez.
I guess the guy was into some
everywhere you're at, something
not everywhere
on that property.
No
on this existence of this earth.
Brody. And Eric told me that story too. No.
Guarantee it.
Here's my problem. Dude, Bink is on in the comments?
Bankster.
Oh my!
You need to bring Bink on.
That's
that guy
another
lived on an animal carcass when he left the elites. That would be a great story.
Well,
right
he is somebody I want to have on. I was thinking about him the other day. I'd love to have him on because he actually got me started in bass fishing. That's a whole nother life. That's a whole nother life. But welcome, Bink.
In a yurt.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, he was living on elk
You know, that Elite Series will break your ass. To the point where you have to live off the wild. Look at me now.
Right.
I've been at the bottom of the depths for so long, Travis. That's why no one hears from me.
Yo, so I was talking to Dave earlier on my way home, I don't know, an hour and a half ago, and told him, says, yeah, Travis is, got us coming on tonight, and Pangra's gonna be on, and this guy Brody. I said, I don't think I've ever met Brody, but Brody's the guy that Mike knows Brody. Mike's worked with him. Brody's the guy that would come down Mike's driveway with his van, and they would load up all the sponsor stuff we're supposed to get, and Brody would take it away and sell it on eBay. That's where all our stuff went, Dave.
Yeah, so whoever scored Mike's little tiny Traeger, that was supposed to be Brian's, probably. Back when we had Traeger grills.
Yeah,
it's the pirate in me.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, boys. It's the pirate in me.
Good to meet you, Brody.
Good to meet you, buddy.
I think we're gonna have an awesome show. I don't even know where to start. Somebody's gonna have to help me because I have 100,000 topics I would like to talk about, but I want to know what resonates with you guys. So should we have somebody in the comments maybe throw out a couple of topics when it comes to creepiness, whether it be UFOs, Bigfoot, the big humanoids of Western Kentucky?
I told my Bigfoot story on this show before.
Matt, tell it again.
Yeah.
I told you about when I was up in Alaska on the Talchalitna River and the Bigfoot almost attacked us, and my buddy's dad, who runs an outfitter out there, went and got the shotgun and said, "Get in the damn helicopter."
We're going for evidence, boys.
I'd like to hear this, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't hear it? Okay, so we're up in.
I'd like to hear it. Yeah.
It would have been 2009. It'd have been right at I was still been. So it'd have been 2007, the very first time I went up to Alaska. And I got lucky. I played hockey at OU. My buddy Owen, his parents owned a lodge and a fly-in service, right? So we have bass boats, they have snowmobiles, airplanes, and helicopters. My buddy Owen's dad, for the Amazing Race and for all the snowmobile stuff, takes his private helicopter and takes him up there for outlandish amounts of dollars. And so when I go up there, it's heck, I have a plane ticket up there and we get to do all this awesome stuff. It's like Disney World for Alaska. And so we're going to catch these king salmon on the Talchalitna River, which is in Indian territory. No one's around there. I mean, you don't go there. There's no one around hundreds of miles around. So we get on there and we're going down and we see all the king salmon and stuff on the river. So we land on the sandbar, right? And we're throwing single big giant meps for them and stuff. And he's staying around the helicopter, and it's for black bear because black bear are curious, right? And he was to keep them from hitting that. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden we hear big crashing. But there's big stuff that lives in Alaska, right? So I mean, no big deal. But then it's this knocking, heavy knocking. And I'm on one side of the river, and Owen and Danny are hey, come over on this side of the river. And I thought at this point, I'm okay, this is something weird that's behind me. And it's just foliage because it's summertime. And I look behind me, and this is no joke, this tree, there's all these trees, and one of the trees just goes, shoo, and it's just gone.
Really?
What?
Yes, 100%. And the next thing I hear is, and now the gun's loaded. And he said, "Everybody get over here right now and get back in the helicopter." And we freaking get in the helicopter, and he takes off. And I was like, "What the hell was that?" And they were like, "I don't know." And that's why we freaking left. And they're it was two options. And they're a bear can't do that to a tree. So literally, it thought it was the native Bigfoot that was hey,
and they kind of knew it. They kind of knew it.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. They didn't want to talk about it or mention it or anything. And we went to an entirely different section of the river. And that was that. I mean, I swear to you, that's the honest to God true story.
Yeah, I've been I've been begging the Bigfoot as far as here. I want to get everyone's perspective on this. I want to share mine first because I was deep into it for a while, and the stories you hear of people that had encounters are very fascinating. My thought process is, one, we would see some type of evidence with trail cams, things like that at some point. However, I'm starting to think a little deeper, and those that watch the live, especially the after hour show, know sometimes I can come up with some crazy ideas. And I believe that these things are actually interdimensional beings that are not here in the physical form like we think. That's my thoughts. So, Matt, I don't know. Are you a believer after that incident, or, I mean, what's your perspective on that?
I just think it was something that I didn't want to see. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not like the interdimensional believer thing, even though, I mean, I did buy 97 cans of pork and beans when it all went down on your advice, but I think that's out of control. I think that's out of the question. But I mean, like, dude, if you've ever been up to Alaska and been on a helicopter flight for 35 minutes where there's no one within 100 miles, you could see how something that big could live out there.
Yeah. Dave, what do you got?
So no, I have a question for Matt. So Matt, like while this was going on, what type of emotions were you experiencing in terms of primitive emotions?
Well, at first I was naive, but then I remember having to run across, and the river wasn't super deep where we crossed it. It was kind of the rapids, and then I was fishing a hole. But I remember like how serious they were. Like it was just me, Owen, and Owen's dad. We're the only three out there that day. And I remember how serious they were, and they were like, Matt, get over here right now. Like it wasn't like, hey, I don't know what that is, you might want to come over here. It was like, get the hell over here. Like you're in danger. That's that's the only time that I was like, it was a mixture of like kind of what the heck and fear. Because I mean, it never occurred to me like at the time, like Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever it is. Like I'm just like, I thought it was a bear 100%. But
don't be so quick to dismiss this extra dimension thing that we really don't understand, but other scientists are explaining right now. They're saying that's the next frontier, is understanding interdimensional existence. There's tons of resources in every single country that has a scientist that's looking into this theory right now. So if you're willing to believe that a 10-foot humanoid can run around Alaska, it shouldn't be too much far of a reach really to think that there could be another dimension right within your reach, right in front of you.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Look, we got a dead lizard as a president. So, I mean, I think that's proof right there.
Well, listen, BTC, we were going to try not to go politics because I don't want to blow up this show just yet.
Science, not politics. I'm just saying, to back up Dave's point, science.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard a physicist explain parallel dimensions really well. He said if you were at a koi pond and you're looking down into the koi pond and you see, the fish in there, that fish only sees his existence. If you were to take him out of that pond and hold him up in the air, he would see a whole nother world that he didn't know existed prior to being snatched up out of the water.
Yes.
I thought that was the best layman's, extra dimension for dummies type shit I could,
I think about that all the time when I catch a fish. I go, this fish just experienced an outer body experience just now. And because I'm into all this stuff, and the interdimension, the things that we see that we can't feel, that you talk to someone that can talk to people that have passed, and whether it be spirits or whatever the case may be, all that is somehow, Dave, I think you're right. There is something to it that fascinates me, man. And that can go into so many different directions. It's crazy, but it's definitely nothing. I think it's so powerful that it would empower us as citizens, as humans of this country, of this world, that the people that control the information we get don't want this to come out. I feel that the people that control this information have a very good idea what's going on out there. I really do.
Well, they do. I mean, all you have to do is follow the work of Dave Paulides. Dave Politis has a very popular YouTube channel called the Missing Can-Am America Project. It's something to that extent, but his name's Dave Politis, and he investigates the thousands of people that have went missing in national parks.
Yes, yes.
And
the 411.
411, right. It's called the Can-Am Missing Project or something. That's the YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he's dropping content every other day. There's a whole phenomenon in the national parks of people that are going missing. And if it were animal attacks, you're going to find clothing. You're going to find parts of people. These people are completely vanished.
Dave, why is it happening in parks like that? Because it actually makes me not want to go after you hear these stories. And there's way too many stories to ignore. If you do any research, you will not want to go to a national park after this.
Any of them?
He even has.
Yeah.
I'm just going ahead.
Like even ones where people don't disappear, like even ones that aren't like mountainous with giant cracks and crevices that people can fall into.
Go ahead, Dave.
You have to consume some of the content to understand how. First off, he can't get a count from the National Park Service.
True.
They block his Freedom of Information Act requests constantly. He can't get a total count. He goes through old news articles and people reach out to him individually when their loved ones go missing. And what you'll find is he has criteria that almost all these people go missing on. There's always a weather phenomenon. They're always around granite. In terms of the children, almost all of them have some type of a learning disability. And it was one. What was the other criteria? There was one other, but it's fascinating because they all have this criteria. They're always around water. And then it's in deep water. I'm not talking about reservoirs, streams, creeks. They're found 15, 20 miles, sometimes dead from where they were last known to be, and their body's not in any distress. And you have to watch it to truly understand it. There's forces at work, to get back to this other dimension thing, that we don't understand, that we just don't.
Oh, so you're saying they went to another dimension?
Yeah.
It's theorized that there are people with testimony, eyewitness testimony. There's another guy on YouTube called How to Hunt. He's a Canadian out of British Columbia, and all he does is read emails about people with Sasquatch sightings. He's also a world-renowned guide, and he's had his own experiences. But between his show and what you hear about on Sasquatch Chronicles and what Dave Politis talks about, there are people that have seen. They describe it as the predator. They describe it as like a predator situation where you can see a distortion right in front of you. And numerous people have talked about this, and again, this is a guy that barely graduated high school who listens to people talk about this. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, like when hundreds of people, thousands of people have similar stories, and I was a police officer, and I can tell you, when you get 10 people to agree on one thing, that means it happened. Okay. Like, and all their stories sound like each other's story. And are they copying each other? Maybe, I don't know. But I think our government does have a full understanding of this, and just like they treat us like children, and they have reasons to protect this, and it always involves money and killing whoever your supposed enemy is. I think that's why they cover it up. And as for the Sasquatch, if they admit that they're Sasquatch, you won't be able to cut down another tree forever.
Really?
You won't. Think about it. It's about big timber. Timber is gigantic. There's only 5 major timber companies, and their profits are right on par with Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and all those guys. Man, they made a killing during this whole pandemic thing.
I'll agree with that. That's a pretty good point.
So let's admit that. So let's say
church than anybody. I would go with the Catholic Church is going to put an end to it before the timber company. But yeah, I think the timber company is a good thing. But if there was a cryptic like that was actually brought to the books, it would change the genetic steps to be a humanoid, and that would screw with the churches and the whole.
Well, that's why I think a lot of times this information is hidden from us, because it would destroy the church. And the church isn't there for religion purposes. And if you do any research on that, I think you understand what the churches are there for. Deep down,
it wouldn't destroy the church.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. I always blame the churches, but timber's a great point.
But it wouldn't destroy the church, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a massive religious sect of people that understand. There's people that believe these things are the Nephilim. There's people that believe that they are descendants of fallen angels. Now, there's a guy named Juan O'Savin. Juan, common spelling, O, and last name Savin, Savin. And he has on BitChute, he has a 3-part series specifically talking about the Nephilim. And this isn't, it might be far-fetched to a guy like me that's not really dialed into religion, but to the people who are, it's not a far grip. So in terms of religion, yeah, you're talking about organized religion. You're talking about the Catholic Mafia Church. They are just the most gangster organization on planet Earth, man. You know,
Biden just visiting the Pope, by the way. Go on.
Well, did he?
Yeah.
Which one? His double? His body? His double? Or
well, see, you really never know with either one of them. But
hold on, guys. We got special. We got a special guest here. Just probably wants to pop in real quick. I'm assuming. Another pirate.
Hey! Hey! Happy Halloween, you fools. Listen, give me all your crankbaits or your soul. The choice is yours. And I want a date with that hot cat. Listen, the show's gone rogue. I'm out. But happy Halloween, all you smallmouth fucking crushers. I'm gone, Dave. I love you, man, but I can't. BTC, you're awesome. Matt, you look fucking sexy. And Brody, you're as crazy as advertised. You are now body of the lake. Body of the lake. I'm going to hang out with my cool crankbaits down here that don't talk back. And Travis, you stepped up your game. I've had the best week ever with you, man. It's harmonious.
Yes.
Ask the man, while you're discussing the other topics tonight, about his new spiritual journey. I do believe Travis Manson has made a breakthrough. He's about to take his, yeah, I do. He's about to take his brand to the next level, and a bracelet. Hold on, let me get this glove off. A bracelet. Yeah, it's made out of crankbait shells, man. That's the next new crankbait on the Bass Lab. It's mother of pearl. And don't deny the power of mother of pearl. All right, listen. He's going to take the brand to the next level. Why is my eye closed? It doesn't even look like I'm looking at anything. It looks like I got somebody hit me, man. I can't see anything, man, with this pirate. You think it's easy with one eye to crank? I think it's easy to run a Bass Lab when you only have one eye. Brody knows.
I sure.
Oh my God.
All right, but Travis, on a serious note, he stepped up his game. He's made a breakthrough. I have big predictions for the Smallmouth Crush brand. Super proud of Travis, man. A lot of harmony in what we're doing right now, and I just want to keep the harmony going. So I know I cannot stay for the show. So I just wanted to make a cameo, yo.
Hell yeah, dude.
And so you
probably
guys,
one of the best I've ever seen.
Thank you. And so you guys,
save that clip, Alex.
You guys discuss, be at one, and mix it up. Matt,
is that a biker vest?
I was going to do. No,
that's a leather biker vest. I feel like that came from your personal collection. Has nothing to do with the costume.
It doesn't, man. I'm a part-time biker.
Like, I feel like that's one of the many layers.
I had dreads, but I couldn't get them to fit right.
Epic Eric that we don't know about.
Well, you know, everybody's got another side, but right, you know, sometimes you gotta let that.
Has that jacket ever been on a Harley Davidson?
No.
Oh, that's
not even in a sidecar.
Yes. Now that would be the deal, man. In a sidecar with Manson the vampire driving. Hell yeah, bro. I'm all about that, man. Oh, that's awesome, man. All right, listen. So listen, feel free, discuss amongst yourselves. I see you starting to get the topics rolling, so it would be a good time for me to deep heart the show, man. But thanks for having me on, everybody. You guys rock out there at Smallmouth Crush Land BTC. I love you, the best fucking fake producer that ever was. Brody the Lake, you got badass lures. Dave Boroznik, I used to love you as the freaking Star Wars guy, Stormtrooper. I have never laughed so hard on a Bass Live with you, with or without it, by the way. You are a very, very funny man. Your Stormtrooper sketch with the guy that bought Bass was legendary. I peed my pants when you interviewed him, man. I wish you would have come on as Stormtrooper. If you have the helmet, you got to show these people Stormtrooper. Spin it up a little bit as your discussions move on. And Matt, just keep purring, baby. Purring, baby. And Travis, you guys think the salmon video, I got cut by the salmon? Nah, Travis bit me on the hand for catching it, man. That's the real truth. We faked it. It's real blood. He really did bite me. I have the scars to prove it, man. There it is. There's the bite marks you see too, right? He fanged me, man. So I don't have king salmon running through my brain. I got Travis Manson coursing through my body. But,
it could be rabies.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the funniest part is, man, I haven't had a drink tonight. All right, you guys.
You're lucky if it's rabies. That's the best option.
All right, man. Have fun, man. I'm out.
All right. Wow.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad he could make an appearance. That was pretty epic. I did not expect that one bit, but
That
damn.
was
Perfect. Shit.
I have an Alaska story whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So
someone asked, are you dressed up as Pete Glusick?
Me?
Yeah.
Pete Glusick? No, dude, I got fucking bibs on and
okay.
And everybody was in costume. I grabbed the stupidest hockey jersey I could find with a anarchy symbol on it.
All right.
But then that's as far as I got.
Gotcha.
I got an elephant mask and a sheep. And anyhow, it was, oh man, timeline I think was real close to your Alaska story, Matt. So I flew to Alaska with Ike. A mutual buddy of ours was stationed in the Coast Guard in Homer. And he's like, he was at the end of his set there, and he said, "You guys got to get out here. This place is amazing. You got to come experience it before his set's over." So, me and Mike flew out there for a week, and part of that week we went and hiked up into the mountains. The three of us, me, Mike, and Tom, and spent 3 nights out there, fucking out there. It was like October. It was October. And the second night that we were there, we all experienced something that we still can't explain. So I set the table. We hiked up into this valley. It was switchback up into a valley. And we had mountains on either side of us. Like they felt fairly close, just mountain peaks, just shot right up. And then front and back. So you felt like you were in this bowl, but front and back could have been 10 miles or 20 miles. It's hard to tell. Alaska's insane. It's hard to fathom distance there. But we made camp. We hiked across this valley, and it was all blueberry bushes and such, and made our way to the foot of this lake, Crescent Lake. You can look it up. And set up camp right at the foot of Crescent Lake, actually up on it. It's kind of looking down at it.
Wait, you're on the Kenai Peninsula?
Yeah.
I've been there. There's grayling in it.
Yeah.
It's above the tree line. There's 2 main rivers that come in, one on one end, one on the other side, kind of like this. Like, I mean, you can't tell that. But yeah, it takes like forever to hike up there.
It took a while.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there twice.
No shit.
Yeah, no shit.
The Crescent Lake?
Yeah, to Crescent Lake to fish for grayling. It took like 6 hours to hike. You can go one side that takes like 6 to 8 hours to hike up, and then you can go up the other side that takes like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
there's like camping spots up there and stuff.
6 hour away.
Felt like it.
Anyway, continue.
And we hiked past a lake on the way to Crescent called Carter that was loaded with rainbows like that. So went past Carter to the foot of Crescent. Anyhow, so on the second night, the overcast had cleared out. Again, we're October. We were in overcast skies the first night. Second night, the overcast had cleared out, and we ended up under this harvest lunar. So it was a harvest moon because it was October. It was this giant moon, and we were under lunar light. So shit was pretty creepy. It's just just.
So it was pretty bright though, like you could see at night.
Yeah,
very clear. Yeah,
it got bright when the moon came up. Which, by the way, when you're sitting right, so here we are, and we got these mountains on either side of us, and like that, this mountain peak over here just lights up. At the top of the mountain, just all of a sudden it's glowing. And then you watch as the glowing on the mountain starts working its way down. And then a minute or two later, you see coming up on the other side, here comes the moon, this giant moon just cresting over the mountain. Fucking unbelievable, man. So it was a pretty wild experience. We were just like really just soaking it all in, standing on the foot of this little cliff that overlooked Crescent Lake. The lake was glass, everything's reflecting off of it. And we're all just sitting there trying to figure shit out. Mike's, dreaming about his empire and what he's going to do next. And I'm still trying to figure out how to make $1. And Tom's just living off the government, It's what we're sitting there thinking about, I imagine. Right. But all of a sudden I hear them start exclaiming about something. I was just living in my moment for a minute. And I figured we'd been fucking with each other all night, trying to freak each other out. And when I finally look over, after they did it like 2 or 3 times, they're talking about, did you see that? Did you see that? I look over, and all of a sudden I see on the foot of the mountain this light, right? This little light up and then go. And I'm like, oh, I saw it 3 times. They probably saw it like 4 or 5 times. Just there it is. Just a light up. All 3 of us are standing there. I don't know what the hell it was, but there was no people there. It didn't follow a line like there's somebody hiking with a flashlight. It just
in the same exact spot every time, or a little bit different?
No, it was different.
Oh, that's creepy.
But in the vicinity,
Yeah.
No idea. We all saw it. Can't explain it. The 2 best rationales I got. One, talked to a guy who had seen a show that covered it, like a Discovery Channel that actually talked about that, where other guys had experienced and saw the exact same thing that I was explaining to him. I didn't see that show. So, I mean, other people have seen it. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was there, wolves carrying riding, or, orcs on wolfback. I don't know.
There's a lot of Sasquatch sightings are accompanied with orbs, either before or after. It's not uncommon in that whole Sasquatch world. You hear that all the time. If you listen to 10 Sasquatch stories, one of them's going to have an orb involved with it.
Maybe some squatches were dropping in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it's not uncommon at all. It's very common.
But it may not sound like a whole lot, but it was.
If you were there. Yeah.
We were there. We all 3 saw it. It was pretty remarkable, honestly, and no explanation.
What the Alaskans say.
No, I don't know. We weren't with any Alaskans. We were the only people up there.
Oh, the 3rd guy. I thought he was from there.
Tom, no, he's from our hood. He's a homie.
Oh,
it just defies all. It defies everything you have cataloged. And you can't, and that's why you always say something like it was bizarre, because you just don't have anything to reference it against.
I mean, immediately my thought was, okay, the moon, it's animal eyes. I'm looking at like trajectories of light and reflection, but none of that made sense. The angles work or anything like that. So I don't know what the hell it was, man.
Yeah, I've never seen an orb. I haven't experienced one yet.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Guys, I want to ask each and every one of you a couple questions, and I'm going to start with Brody. And it's basically, I want to know if you've looked into it, what, real quick, like a yes or no in your belief level, or having a clue. Okay? Brody, I'm going to start with you. Have we been to the moon?
Like on it or in its atmosphere?
Have we been to the moon, Brody? I mean, if you haven't looked into it and you don't know, or maybe you believe we have, I just want a yes, no, or I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say no.
No. Matt, have we been to the moon?
Yes.
Dave?
Absolutely not. And I've seen a tremendous amount of evidence that it was filmed in Hollywood.
Thank you. BTC?
I love Dave's answer.
I thought it was filmed like outside of Vegas.
We don't know. We're gonna listen. All I'm doing is undercovering a few topics. I got a lot more to get to. I just need a real quick.
I got 20 minutes, so we got to get through these. Then I got 20 minutes, and the kidder's got to keep studying.
Oh, jeez.
I'm dressed like a cat, keeping her from studying for her nursing finals. It's not a good excuse.
Fair enough. BTC, yes, no.
I hadn't thought much, but I'm going to say yes.
Yes. Okay. Brody, have you looked in the Federal Reserve and your thoughts on that? Yes, no, or no idea?
You mean gold?
You know a little bit. I'm giving out some hot topics.
Is the American currency printed off and backed off of gold?
Well, have you looked into the history of the Federal Reserve and do you understand it? Don't be afraid to say no. There's nothing wrong with not knowing.
I'm going to say no, but I know that I don't believe there's enough gold to back up the cash.
Fair enough.
We have printed.
BTC?
I mean, I've listened to a fair amount of podcasts talking about it and what it's about. I believe we're no longer backed by gold. Listen, I'm not going to talk about fucking the economy. I sound like a retard.
Gotcha. Fair enough, Matt. Yeah. No, we'll get back, Matt. We got to keep going.
I understand.
I don't want to cut you off.
I understand the gold thing, but that's the extent that I understand.
Dave?
Yes, created by one of the 13 ruling families of the planet, the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
And the Fed hasn't been backed by gold since Nixon. It's backed by the petrodollar, and that's why we went to Iraq, because he was about to switch over. He was about to leave the.
God, we could go so many places right now. All I was doing was trying to get a feel for where everybody was at here. And I know Dave's legit. He's looking into things. He's what I'm going to say is awake, although that terminology now has been taken by never mind. Where do you guys want to go?
Well, I'd like to tell you guys my Bigfoot story, because
yeah, for sure.
For me,
you've got one too.
All this stuff we're talking about started for me with two things. It started with the JFK assassination, and it started with Bigfoot. Bigfoot came first. And when I was 12 years old, my stepdad had a hunting camp up on the New York-Pennsylvania border. He had like 300 acres up there. That later on, he wound up making a mint, fracking the shit out of it, but that's a whole nother story. So I was 12 years old, and we used to go out at night deer spotting. And it was like, a little thing. We would just take count of how many sets of eyes we saw. And I'll never forget it, dude. I was sitting, back in the day, the Suburbans all had, they didn't have bucket seats. They all had bench seats. And my mom and my stepdad were in the front, and I would sit in the middle so I could slide to each side with the spotlight to shine it on deer in the open lots. And it's vacant up there. This is around 1980, 83, 82. There was no one lived up there then. And walking from our right to our left, you're talking about 1982, 1983 headlights that were just yellow. They weren't as bright as what we have now. What we saw, wasn't the 8, 9, 10 foot tall things people describe. It really was built like a refrigerator. It was more rectangular than it was anything else. And this is where it gets weird. And I've heard people say this, made my blood go cold. It wasn't walking. It looked like it was gliding. Like you couldn't see the leg movement. Like it wasn't like the headlights were shining through the legs. We didn't get any eye shine. It was more brown than it was black. And it went from right to left and disappeared into a cornfield. The right side would have been the steep, like not necessarily a mountain, more like a hill, but it was steep, maybe at like a 60-degree angle. Most of it all was. It was all shale and just leaves, and it just wasn't very easy to walk on. But, that's what started it. I never even heard of a Bigfoot, where we grew up at, Brian and I, nobody talked about that, no one did. My stepdad's like, that's a Bigfoot. My mom will tell you we saw a bear walk across the road, but
right.
I've watched bears walk. For people watching this, if you YouTube walking bear New Jersey, there was a bear walking around up in North Jersey, had its front feet were deformed, so it walked. And some fucking guy shot the thing during bear season and killed him. But like there was a walking bear at one point. You can see it on YouTube, but it's awkward. It's like, it looks like a circus freak. It didn't. This thing was elegant and it glided, man. And it was,
Wow.
I'll never forget that. I've never had a Bigfoot experience by myself, and I've been out in the woods a lot by myself. I've always had it. And the next 3 that I had, 2 of them were with my my wife and kids, and the other one was just with my wife. So fast forward, right? And so back to what I saw, I didn't get to see fur. I didn't get to see a face. I didn't get to see muscles, hands. It was more or less like a refrigerator, like a silhouette of a refrigerator gliding across the goddamn dirt road. That's it. That's the best way I can describe it, So now you fast forward about, I don't know, 2012, maybe 2013. My wife and the kids and I, we got a picture of it. We got we were down in Florida on the edge of the Everglades, and at a place called Jonathan Dickinson State Park, and it's not a remote park, but we got, my wife spotted it. We got a picture of an actual skunk ape. That's what they call them down in Florida. We got a picture of a skunk ape footprint, going right across the trail we were walking on. It's legit. It looks just like every picture you see when you see the Bigfoot casts. The toes were much wider than what you see like of the North American ones, like not North American, but like Canadian, Alaskan, where they're more of like our foot, but this was more like a wider type foot, but the toes were we got the picture. I mean, it's we didn't hear nothing, see nothing, so we have a photo. Now fast forward to 4 years ago, my wife and I had the kayaks up in upstate New York. Now we've been hiking on those remote trails. That's our vacation. We go up there. We're on a trail every day on some remote mountain. So we're up there a lot. So it isn't like we have some kind of an exposure to them every time. But this one time, I looked and I found this place called Beaver Lake, about 30 miles southwest of Lake George, and there's nothing around it. So we drive to it, and the road leading into it is fenced off. So I'm like, all right, let's walk down this road first and see what we're going to see, before we drag the damn kayaks all the way down. So we got to the lake. It was completely covered in fog, and you can hear the loons, right? The loons are all making their noise. And it's almost like when you and your friends are around a beehive and you get that weird look at each other when you realize there's like 7,000 bees around you and time just freezes
Later.
And everybody looks at each other like, oh shit. Well, we're hearing the loons, and my wife looks at me and she's like, what's that? Dude, and I turn the phone on and I start recording it. I have the recording. It sounded like something with lips fucking with these loons from about 200 yards away from where we were in the fog. And like the loons make their distinct, sound, and and then this thing was just fucking around with it, dude, and it went on forever. And like I told you, I was a police officer. I've been in some of the highest adrenaline situations. And as I'm listening to the tape, like my breath, I'm starting to get something called vascular constriction. And that's where like the blood's leaving your extremities and your chest. It brings that out of you. That's why I asked you, Matt, like, what were you feeling physiologically? Because it activated all my DNA. I was on high alert. I was amazed at what we were hearing, but I was aware that we were in the presence of something, you know, to not to be fucked around with, you know. And we left. We left, and you know, walking down the trail the whole time, you're like looking over your shoulder, like, you know, like we couldn't get out of there quick enough. And it wasn't exciting. Like I didn't want to get closer to it. I wasn't terrified, but you know, I knew my place in the hierarchy of things, you know, and it was scary. But I have the audios of that. I can send it to you, Travis, so you can have fun with it. But and then the last time was a couple of years back, and this one is the one I considered actually writing a few guys about, because this is going to actually get trying not to go down the rabbit hole too much with the national parks and everything here. So we were hiking up Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain is on the east side of Lake George. It's remote. Like once you get to the east side of George, you know, you're out there. There's houses, but there's not a lot of people, man. So we're going up, and you know, you're going up something on a super steep angle. So you're zigzagging back and forth straight up. You're not going around it. You know, you're going back and forth. So, you know, you go 100 feet, you're already at the tops of the trees are at your ankles. You know what I'm saying? So you're going really far up. Well, we could see about a half a football field away, a giant tree. There's no Bubba. I should go pull her out of the house right now. She got the grandbaby on her. I would if she didn't have that. We see this giant tree getting violently shook. Goosh, 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 goosh. And then it come crashing down. We're like, what the hell, dude? So we didn't go much further. Like I had a gun on me. I was armed at the time. Not that it would have mattered, because what I had on me could barely kill a human, let alone kill a goddamn, you know, giant dude. But we went up. As we're coming up, 3 dudes are coming down in what, like, I heard someone refer to it like shoot me first pants, right? Like the 511 tactical pants with like the, you know, with like the thigh holster, like, you know, shit for magazines and the shit that like military guys wear or cops wear. 3 guys came down with full backpack kits on, and 2 of them were unassuming, right? I didn't, but the one dude, like, when you're assessing someone and someone's assessing you, there becomes a mutual awareness of that assessment. And me and this one dude, we're assessing each other. And I'm asking them, you know, what's going on. And then I asked them if they heard the tree, and they said no. They said that they take care of the trails, that they're volunteers taking care of the trails. All 3 of them had camera kits. All 3 of them had camera rigs on. And like the one dude that I said that like we had like a mutual like feeling out of each other, like like me, he was square with me the whole time as I was him. You know, that they had definitely had more of just we're clearing, you know, fallen trees off of the trail to them, even though they didn't have anything to clear trees with. They didn't have saws, they didn't have axes, they didn't have any kind of straps or shit to pull stuff out the way. And they basically told, you know, they more or less tried to talk us off of going up. You know, like my wife was like, how far to the top? And they're like, oh man, you're going to run out of daylight. And I wasn't planning on going further anyway. And they wound up walking out with us. And, you know, you know, there's a theory out there that there's groups of guys that, you know, keep these things in check.
Really?
And there's not a lot of resources for it. You just have to peel through hours upon hours of listening to podcasts and people talk about it. You know, to even get that perspective. But you don't encounter people on trails that like target assess you the way this guy did me and the way I did him, you know. And I can't articulate it any better, but something definitely shook a tree down not far from us. And it was, you know, it was enough to see the tree violently blasting around up top and then hear it come crashing down. It was definitely wild. Again, we haven't been back to that spot either. You know.
Jeez.
Yeah, and like that's about it. Like, you know, I would go into our we have forest around here called the Pine Barrens. It's a pretty decent size. It's
Isn't
about
that
half
where
the size of the
Isn't that where the mob always would dump the bodies?
Nah, that's
yeah. Well, that's
Where's
the
that?
Meadowlands, but yeah, they would take them down to the Pines too, Brian, on the northern end, up northern end of Burlington County, because it's right off the Parkway, and you know it's very acid. They're never going to build there, so you could bury someone out in the middle of that place, and no one's going to find them. You know, they're never going to build on it. It's about half the size of the Allegheny National Forest for anyone who's familiar with that. I wandered around there a lot, but it doesn't have like the same feeling. It's not an old forest. It burns down a lot. It doesn't. It has resources. You know, seen cool things, but nothing like in the Bigfoot realm. You know, Jay Kumar. You guys know who Jay is. Jay lectures me about wandering around out there by myself. He doesn't like that idea. You know, but those woods are where the Jersey Devil came from. You know, it was
Is that
supposedly the
yeah?
13th.
What's the story behind that? I was going to ask you. Is there some
Yes.
some legitness to that?
I don't know about legitness, but it's the Leeds family, and it was the 13th child of the Leeds family that right when he was calved, apparently he flew out the window with his bat wings. The story of the Jersey Devil. All right, you know, I don't know.
How do you have space for all this shit in your head, man?
Because I have a job where 10 hours a day, all I do is listen to things, man. I don't have to listen to anyone else. I can make myself laugh, or I can make myself listen to podcasts. You know what I mean?
Damn. All right, we're gonna go
They're
deeper
my
and deeper.
Sasquatch
Matt,
stories.
I loved it. I
What?
loved it, Matt. I know you gotta. We don't want to keep you, Matt. So I'm gonna let you get back to.
I wonder how to get the. How do you get this off? Like it doesn't come off.
Vaseline.
Vaseline.
Vaseline. No.
Yeah, Brody. What are
No,
you
I'm
gonna do
not-
tonight? What's your plan to get that off your face?
Listen to me. Ask your girlfriend. Vaseline will get it right off your face. I'm telling you.
All right.
My wife's got some.
That's how you get like eye black off your face from football. You put Vaseline on a tissue and wipe it right off.
I never put on eye black in athletics.
You did pretty good. You
That
nailed it.
well, yeah, you've got a lot more to paint to get off than I do, Brody.
Yeah, Brody's fucked.
It was good to see you. You're awesome.
Great to see you, Matt. Congratulations, by the way. I'm keeping a track on you. I'm watching you work your way up there.
For doing mediocre in a tournament series that you just have to have an entry fee to enter.
Oh, that's good.
No, I'm trying.
Good to see you, Matt.
I'm trying, man.
I would love to come and do that fish and chips thing again if you guys.
If we have it again, I will make sure that you are on the invite list.
That would be great. That would be a super, super fun time. Travis,
BTC is
pick me up on
gone.
the way. Me and him fishing.
Oh, I know.
I could listen to Dave for like the whole night.
Yes.
I know. We're going to keep drilling them here in a second, but I just wanted to offer you a polite way to leave now, or you could just log off whenever you wanted to.
I appreciate it. I am going to go get this off of my face and then log in for the remainder of the show.
There you go.
Like I would say, just in case you came in late, this is a fishing-related costume. I am the Bass Cat. I run a Puma. I run a Bad. This is a Bass Cat costume. It's not like a.
That's not what we're hearing in the comments.
That's what I'm saying. This is a fishing-related costume. There's nothing else to it. It is me, the Bass Cat. That is it.
Shilling out for Bass Cat, man. Come on, dude. You just made the Yamaha motors and Ranger Live Well sound attractive, dude. That's the worst chill job ever. You wore the goddamn costume of a yeah. I'm gonna wear my Ram hat for my, I don't know, dude. Sorry, Matt.
I just like how you can see my paw when I drink my beer. All right. Thank you for letting me come on and tell my scary ghost.
Very scary story. Awesome.
I will remember watch the rest of the show. So you gentlemen enjoy your evening.
All right, we will.
See you.
Squatch story.
See you, Matt.
Wow. Okay, man. If you guys missed it, Matt had a really good ghost story that may or may not have been true. I don't know. Seemed legit. Scary stuff.
Matt had a ghost story.
Yeah, before you guys came on, he was talking about how he pulled up to a ramp and he saw this boy in the morning, and it was foggy, and the boy didn't acknowledge him, and he went fishing. He came back, and there was a ceremony at the shore, and some guy came up to him. He's like, "What's going on?" Well, that's their anniversary of this kid drowning right there, and in the frame of the reef or whatever was a picture of this kid, and it looked exactly like the kid that Matt was trying to communicate with on the bank that morning.
Oh my God.
Freaky.
Yeah. So Brian can verify this, dude. I didn't have one as vivid as that, but we had this little private lake that you really couldn't go onto, and it was called, everyone has a blue hole. It was called the Blue Hole. And unbeknownst to me, when Brian turned me on to it, like a little kid had died, and this would have been February. I would have been there in like the spring of 2003, and the kid had died, I think, the year before. But when I launched there, dude, I did not know this. I was overcome with grief and sorrow from where this kid was swimming at. There's really only one area I think you could have went in, and maybe there's another one down the end. But dude, it was like funeral type grief, man. I was like welled up. I was like sobbing, like uncontrollably. Come to find out, man, a little kid drowned there, dude. Listening most recently on Coast to Coast, there was
I love Coast to Coast, Brohim. If you guys don't listen to Coast, dude, real quick, and I just got to share this story. When I bought the Jeep Grand Cherokee, 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee, I was driving back from Wisconsin with it, and it was the first time we had like Sirius or one of those satellite radios. And on my commute back to Pennsylvania, this show came on called Coast to Coast. And Coast to Coast has changed my perspective on the world, on nutrition, on everything. I owe a lot to that radio show, and it's on a lot of outlets every night, isn't it? From 12 to 4 or 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. And you can watch the replays, and they have amazing guests, and they cover so much, but a lot of it's paranormal activities, encounters. I mean, it's crazy. But anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Travis, you get your advice from a show that they stick at 12 to 4 a.m.
Well,
all right, go ahead, Dave. So you don't have to explain.
Okay.
Cheers.
So for most people, I found Coast to Coast before the internet was really a thing, like working midnights in the mid 90s.
Okay.
And that's how I found them. It was just more or less like, by accident, I turned on this thing talking about wormholes, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell is it? I was just trying to listen for sports talk radio, and I didn't know that channel even existed, But
yeah,
no. So the hell were we even talking about right there? Oh, so no, this lady was saying, and this is why people can go to like battle sites, specifically around where Brian and I live, Gettysburg. The soul can leave a lasting imprint in an area, and it's not all the time. It's not, but that's what I felt when I was at that place. That's what Matt had experienced. I don't know, and Brian, I don't want to put Brian on the spot, but I mean, Brian's got some, some really legit like paranormal. That's beyond I don't like using ghost stories. I don't like using paranormal because I don't think any of this stuff is odd. I just think we're not dialed into it. I think it's around us everywhere, and we just don't understand it. It's not like this, right now. There are AM radio stations playing broadcasts right now, and if you don't turn that radio on, you don't even know that there's words right here next to my ear right now that if I had an AM radio on, I would hear what's being said. Does that make sense to anyone?
Yeah, total sense.
And yet once in a while we get these little snapshots into a world, and we want to make it seem like it's a drive-by incident when it's not. It's just us accidentally tuning into something other than what we know, other than what we have a catalog for.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that, dude. Well said.
But Brian, I don't know, Brian's got good ones. I don't have a lot of ghost stories, and all I do have, and it's happened recently a lot, and we could get into this. I don't know how familiar you guys, I know Brian is, but it seems like evil. is so much more present. It seems like evil is so much more out in the open than it ever has before, so much more subtle before, but it's at this accelerated pace now. Like everywhere you look is just demon worship, whether it's Converse commercials now, whether it's the Super Bowl halftime show, whether it's every single performance from every diva out there. You know, pick one, go to Quant and Google their name, and they're going to be doing something with the Baphomet goat horns and all that shit. And I got like, I learned from an old Coast to Coast that, and from a lot of people experience this, right? And this is about evil on the march this day and age at an accelerated rate. I don't know of anyone else. I know Brian has, because we talked about this the other day, but I will have overwhelming evil. And I'm not a religious guy, all right? But I'll have this overwhelming, the best way to describe it is evil, like feeling like it, like while I'm sleeping, to the point where I can't, like, it's smothering my mouth and I can't even get the word Jesus out. I can't even say the Lord's Prayer. And that's happened to me twice in the last month. The last time it happened to me a couple of nights ago, Brian got stalked on by evil that same night. You know, it's like, it's gotten so much where I've become so aware to it. Like, I never used to believe the devil was real. I was one of those fools that evil relied on to believe that it didn't truly exist. You know, I was the guy going to the Lamb of God concerts, the Slayer concerts, wearing the T-shirts, throwing the hand gestures up, because I just thought it was all fairy tale, until I realized that there's an entire sect of successful people that absolutely believe that that shit is real, and they worship him. And these are people that I would be lined up across from, that my muzzle would be pointing towards, and they take it serious. And that's what alerted me to all of it. Like I didn't have that coming to Jesus moment, but I absolutely had that realizing that Satan is real, and it's something that a lot of people look towards for success.
I'm fully aware of what you're saying. I've looked into it. I do not want to go there because it's so depressing, but so real when you go there. And it's obvious when you do any research into it that it's like, wow, this shit is cray-cray. But it's scary, dude. It's scary for me. I kind of have to back off of that because that's almost too much for me to handle.
Yeah, Dave.
It really is.
Out with that. You know, you and I have talked about it, and you know where I'm at with it. It's just a lot of shit that's been going on lately. I got up at 3:30 this morning to go out and catch nothing all day. I don't have the strength to do it right now. Fucking YouTube comments, you know, let's take one asshole saying something to send me off. But
yeah, see, I don't live in that world, so their little tiny garden snake bites don't get me.
Yeah,
you know, they can't strike me from their little realm, so it doesn't matter to me.
I will tell you this, guys. I really have turned off most media, mainstream media, and I went 2 days ago to get my oil changed, and I was sitting in the lobby at the Ford dealership, and some seamless, like meaningless program like the Today Show was playing.
I know.
And holy shit, dude. I sat there for 45 minutes, Brohim, watching this shit on TV with other people that were glued to it, and I'm not paying attention, but I'm like, what the fuck?
Right?
It made me so mad. I can pick up everything that they're trying to put out to us. And like my blood was boiling, man. It's just stupid things from, you know, how they trick or treat that your kids are not vaccinated. Here's the proper ways. And then they did this Super Bowl thing, this football thing. And then they had that guy with the Bruno Mars with the masks on their heads dancing around, and like a clip of that. I was just like, where am I in this world, dude? I'm an old soul that sees and is tuned in with reality. You call me whatever you want, but this shit ain't fucking right, man. It's not resonating with me at all. It is not resonating with me, dude. It's not.
Same.
The Today Show, dude. Something that should just be like, all these housewives are watching this shit as they're getting their kids ready for the fucking day. And it is like berserk.
Total programming.
It's berserk what they're playing right now.
Yeah.
If you saw it, you'd be like, I like to think that any normal person would be like, what in the is playing on my TV right now? But that's not the case. People are like, dude, I don't know. It's making me mad right now. I need another drink of this White Claw.
Yeah.
No, it's cognitive programming. And this is easily something you can go on DuckDuckGo and Quant and look up. Look up the CIA's program called Mockingbird.
Yep, Mockingbird.
And it was their overtaking. It was their overtaking of the media. There's only a few people that own all of the media, and they get their talking points and they move forward with it. And that's why forums like this and forums like BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble are critical. You should be getting your news from everywhere, but trust very little what you hear when you turn on your TV. Trust very little.
Yeah, I don't turn it the fuck on. So.
I don't either.
I don't either.
It's like so. Same with you guys. I turned the news off. Banned it actually in my house. No more. And then we got rid of cable shortly after that. But like, you know, if I'm at somebody's house where I'm doing a job and they've got the news on, or an older person that's got the news cycle on all day long, I do my best to cut the power if I can to shut that shit off. But it's like it's like a spoof of itself. It's so ridiculous. If you haven't been exposed to it in a while and then you are, it's like fucking watching Anchorman with Ron Burgundy. It's so over the top theatric and horseshit.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yep. It is.
Here's how I'm trying to overcome this, because I realized, and maybe Eric has Eric and I do get into it, and I understand his points. I know where he's coming from, and I understand.
Yeah, good points.
I understand my points, and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take this approach, Dave. I think that I'm picturing this as a show. A movie, if you will, that's being played out, and I'm here to enjoy it because I chose to be here at this moment in time on this planet, in this reality, and I can't change anything. I can try to make adjustments and live the best life I can, but that doesn't mean I'm sticking my head in the sand either, because I do want to know what's going on. And so I'm just looking at it as it's a movie that I'm watching play out in front of me and enjoy the show. That's how I'm dealing with this, because I can't handle it, Dave. Does that make sense?
The pages are already written in front of you?
Not necessarily. I just think there's so much. Like, it's just this part in time, every civilization going back thousands of years, there's always, listen, this concept of the United States is very new to the world. Think of all the technology. Everything blows me away. All the technology. 150 years ago, we couldn't even imagine any of this stuff. And think how long human history's been. And now we can get way back into ancient history when technology like this may have been around and perhaps buried. You know, the truth of that is buried. But it's exciting. I get upset over what's going on, current events, things like that, but I realize I can't really do a damn thing about it myself. And so to me, it's a show. It's something to learn, to grow, to watch, to be entertained by. And that's where I'm at. As weird as that may sound.
It doesn't sound weird. That's part of their design. That's part of the plan, is to get the men that will show up with the tape wrapped around their knuckles on the sideline. The plan is I've been to some protests recently. There's no men to be seen. It's all moms out there, dude.
Yeah.
It is a tactic. It is a plan. The whole racial strife that they create, keep the races separated, keep the sexes separated, keep us all disagreeing and picking at each other like little birds, and then get the other men to just worry about their hobby, whether it's going to the sporting events or watching the sporting events, or in this case, fishing, and not pay attention to what's happening. It starts at the smallest level. It starts at the school boards, and then it starts at politics. Then it moves on to county politics. Then it moves on to state, then low-level federal, high-level federal. That's how they took over. That's what they did to execute their plans, while we all sat by and hoping they all had our best had the the best of hope for us, and it wasn't, and it's not the case. So I'm not saying I'm going to start some revolution, and as dialed in as I am to all this, maybe I know what's going to happen a month before everybody else. I mean, that's about it, then you guys all find out. But I just can't get myself interested in anything else. I could absolutely care less about anything other than what's happening. And I don't know how deep you want to go, but other than what's happening right now, because we are almost at the end. Look at Australia. The only reason we're not Australia is because there's 450 million firearms in this country. It's the only reason why we're not Australia right now. You don't think it's going to be far from now when they declare our resources
Dave,
a national emergency?
I know it's not going to be far. Fishing? I understand that.
I mean, it's right around the corner, man. It really is. They shut our state parks down during COVID. I couldn't go in the Pine Barrens during the initial shutdowns of COVID. I wasn't allowed in, the 1,000 acres of woods because of COVID. I couldn't even take a climbing hydrangea back to a nursery that I don't go to no more because the guy thought it might have had COVID. I ain't lying. And I don't go to them no more. I give my money to somebody else. But that's, it's not far. It's not far till everyone's little niche is taken from them. It's not far, especially outdoorsmen. Dude, because we have guns.
Dave, I'm with you, man. I share the same beliefs. I think a lot of the same things are true and are happening. The only thing I could disagree with you about is the fact that you can't make space, and this is personal between you and I, make space in your life for other things. That's the thing that concerns me about where your head's at. Because, dude, if we got 20 years left, if we got 10 years left, if we got 5 years left, if we got 5 minutes left, you gotta, all that shit aside, you gotta do, enjoy that time for yourself as best you can. And you gotta be able to, and the same thing with you, Travis, and this is what fucking gets in Eric's head, is you are paying attention to this shit, and I agree, believe a lot of it, but you get so pissed off and so jaded and so, in a certain way about it. And for Eric, it's off-putting, Dave, for me, it's like, dude, you want to fucking hang out, asshole. There were good fights on yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, so that's all I'm saying. Like, I agree, but don't let it take over.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? But that was a side note. You guys didn't need to listen to that. That was between me and Dave. Need another beer.
Brody, where are we at here?
Well, we're still talking about positive and negative energy.
Right.
And there's always going to be that, and like he was talking, he seems to think that the negative is being shown a lot more now than it ever has been before. And I will kind of agree with that. And me being more of a spiritual person in that manner of Gaia, Mother Earth, and the balance of what we have here on our planet, we're going to have a topsy-turvy turning point. And I believe you're right. I mean, we are at the midst of that. Do I think it's going to be a planet ending, human race gone, evacuated? No, I think it'd be more of this enlightenment of the fact that, hey, we live on this planet. Do we want to be one with everybody on this planet? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is that huge balance between positive and negative energy. And it's like I was telling you before, I shut off news and all that stuff years ago. And I get reports and I hear some of the stuff that you guys are talking about. And I would get to that point where I would get mad. It would make me grit my teeth and stuff like that. And that's when I got to the point where I didn't like myself when I was was making those assumptions or those views of what was going around me. So in a sense, to the point where I just stopped. And it's almost made my life better, even knowing that I know what's going on. I know that, you know, we're going to have this polar switch or what it might be. You know, that's the way I look at it is, you know, the earth is going to spin. It's going to roll over. It's done that several times. I think it's all in part of what we're all talking about here. And when that does that, you're going to have a spin of the positive, negative energy. Things are going to topple, things are going to fall apart, and things are going to blossom as well. So that's kind of where I look at it.
So when will it be a good time, Travis, to talk about the CIA trying to make La Palma fly into the ocean to drown the East Coast?
Well,
are you following what's happening over there right now?
No, I'm not, and I'm kind of mad that I don't.
We don't have to talk about it.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
You guys are gonna,
yeah.
you guys are like
thing,
fishing.
Brody.
I got a beer for that one.
Yeah.
Yo,
For you guys that like talking about fishing the incoming tide, you're going to have a real big incoming tide if La Palma goes into the ocean. I can tell you that right now.
Greg De Palma?
No.
Who?
On the Canary Islands, there's an active volcano right now, La Palma, and there are massive earthquakes that they have figured out are being detonated in grid format, which earthquakes don't go in grid format. Now, there's two working theories right now is that they're trying to sever part of it to go into the ocean. There's another theory that takes you down an even deeper rabbit hole of that there's deep underground military bases that they're flooding the canals with the lava from La Palma. So there's a couple working things on that right now, but La Palma right now is currently exploding everywhere. Lightning is striking it. There's all kinds of weird shit happening on that little island. Go on Rumble and just type in La Palma and let the videos speak for themselves.
See, I get it, but fuck, I can't handle it all, dude.
I can because I can tell you right now.
I know what's coming. I'm well aware of what's coming.
I think, as Brody said, there's positive and there's negative forces at work, and I think there's good forces that are fighting this. And I think what I know is that anytime I've ever lied, it's never worked out. But anytime I've told the truth, no matter how bad the situation, things always seem to work out, or at least my conscience is clear enough that if it goes the way it goes, I know that I didn't deceive to accomplish it. And I truly think evil is going to lose. And I think that the more people that are aware to it, the more people that are alert to what's happening, there's power in that. And there's power in knowing not to watch what Vanderbilt's telling you on CNN, which is Anderson Cooper's birth name, by the way.
I know exactly who Anderson Cooper is and the whole deal with him. I totally get it. Yeah. I totally get it. Don't get me started with that mofo.
He's CIA. He's manufactured. He's part of Mockingbird.
I know this already.
All right.
Oh, Jesus.
What? This is what people need to know. This is what my neighbors need to know that are sitting there watching him every night. BTC.
My neighbors too. I don't even talk to them anymore. I can't even go over to the house and sit by the fire and have a beer with them. I can't. You know, they all line up ready to virtue signal about what shot they got now, and I can't do it. I'd rather sit out here in my garage that I created.
Same.
And watch my doom porn.
Dave, why won't they let us go to Antarctica? What's going on down there?
Well, there's several things. I mean, the Nazis were there. Obviously, Admiral Byrd was there. If anyone who followed Admiral Byrd's adventure, I think he had 3 expeditions to Antarctica.
Yep.
Massive firefight in one of them.
Came back with reports of billions of dollars of natural resources located there.
Well, I mean, just the way we're moving now with electric, you know, in terms of lithium deposits and ore and various minerals and heavy metals. Everyone's there supposedly, though. If you look at just the science bases that are there, the Danish are there. Everyone's got a base. The theory is that there's massive military underground bases. They call them DUMBs, deep underground military bases. And the Nazis supposedly, the Germans supposedly, that they're just like in Argentina, there's towns full of people who are blonde hair, blue eyes that were, that supposedly in Antarctica underneath. there's supposedly civilizations there. I don't know. I don't know what to believe on that because it's just me listening to someone talk about it.
Sure.
But
I believe there's ancient
Brody said,
civilizations there.
But Brody, you said something about the poles shifting. They know that Antarctica was tropical at one point.
Exactly. That's what I meant. When you said that, I believe there's ancient civilizations there. And when
let me show you something.
If you took the polar
it's funny
ice
you should
cap
say
away,
Antarctica.
It would be,
Look, I mean,
whole cities and all kinds of stuff that you would find.
Little sign I got here. Antarctica, 8,975 miles.
Wow.
It's pointing that way.
Pointing that way.
Yeah. So that is like once I've just started going down the Antarctica thing within the last month. And if this all settles and some sanity starts to happen, I really want to start reading some books on it. Everything I've consumed so far is just stuff on either Rumble or BitChute or even YouTube. I haven't read anything yet. But there's tons of stuff out there about it.
YouTube's getting very tough.
Yeah.
From a creator standpoint, from anyone who's in the fishing and hunting industries to politics. It's it's the world's largest search engine besides Google.
And it's been scrubbed heavily. There's things you used to be able to search on Google and come right to the article. You don't even go. Google doesn't even take you to forums anymore.
No.
So before all this alternative media, in terms of websites, the main one to go to was Above Top Secret. That was one of the massive sites of just so much information and sub forums, and much like 8chan and 8kun and Fort, and all that stuff. But you used to be able to type in certain things and it would take you to, when was the last time you were taken to a chat inside of a forum of a website? They scrubbed it. That's completely knocked out. You don't even get that anymore, Like YouTube, you used to be able to type in certain people who are in politics sniffing kids, and it would that person up sniffing the kids, and that's not there anymore. It's gone. You have to go to Quant or DuckDuckGo in order to find that information.
Yeah.
So true. Damn, man, we could go everywhere, but we're limited on the time. Well, not really, but I got to get up early. I got to head to Wisconsin. Gosh, there's so much I wanted to go over. Because a lot of this was like, there's so much to discuss. Like again, I just think that I'm just happy to be here witnessing this show. Okay. And there's so many different things that we don't know about that it's just interesting to think about. I mean, we covered Bigfoot too. I mean, you guys, part of the country that I'm like really familiar with and love is, of course, the St. Lawrence River, Thousand Islands. That area of Lake Ontario is actually known that I fish a lot. It's kind of known as the nickname's the Bermuda Triangle of Lake Ontario. I don't know if Dave, have you ever done any research in that region? But there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. Basically, take Kingston down to Oswego over to the mouth of the St. Lawrence River, as far as shipwrecks, as far as UFO sightings, as far as plane crashes. The amount of planes that crashed, I mean, you wouldn't think, you'd be like, oh, what, maybe 2 or 3? No, it's a ton, especially back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And even as of late as a few years ago, there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on there. And I've had 3 UFO experiences in that region where it wasn't like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's cute. It was me pulling off the road or me staring at something, wondering what in the hell am I looking at, type of stuff. Huh. And
well, describe them.
The very first one, I was camping on one of the islands, peninsula in Henderson Harbor, and I could see it. Everyone's around their campfire, like everyone at the campfire. You know how it gets quiet at 9 o'clock and the campfire's going. And I saw these lights come out and just move around very quickly. And I can't judge how far away they were, but they looked fairly close. But the way they moved is what caught my eye. And I'm like, what is that? This is on my old cell phone. This was probably like 2013, 14. So it was before I was real you know, good at technology and capturing shit. And it's still probably on an old cell phone. I wish I had that video. But another light joined that one light, and now they're both doing weird shit. And literally, I remember thinking, is anyone else looking at this? And nobody was focused up in the air. Like, you would think people would be like, what is that? And nobody like seemed to even look or notice. And 20 minutes later, you could hear what I'm going to describe as fighter jets following that or going in the direction that those lights went. So military planes chasing is what I'm going to call it. Because that fighter jet noise was not there when they were in the area.
Right.
That fighter jet noise was there when they were traveling very far away quickly. That was my first experience. Second experience, I was just going down the road early morning, and it was over a field. There was some object, man, maybe half a mile away in a field, hovering over the treetops right at dawn. And I got out of the truck. I pulled the truck over with the boat behind me and got out and stared at it.
Oh my God, dude.
I mean,
to get out.
You know what I mean? Like, what the hell was that? And that lasted.
Are there any nuclear power plants over that way?
There is on the southern end, yes. Yep.
Because there's a lot of reported activity around anything we have to do nuclear, whether it's our nuclear ships, whether it's our nuclear launch facilities for our nuclear for our nukes, or nuclear power plants. You know, they have a big interest in that. Like I said, I've never seen one at all, not even close. But
the third one, I was at the cabins I always stay at. My buddy Matt was with me, and it kind of pissed me off how he took it. But I saw these orbs forming over the treetops, and I ran inside to get him and pulled him out, and he looked at it, and he's like, dude, those are Chinese lanterns. And I didn't know what a Chinese lantern was. Okay.
Yeah.
I later on I Googled it, and it's something these people just, I'm like, who in the frick in Cape Vincent, New York at this time of the night, there's not a holiday, like who's sending off a Chinese lantern like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
maybe like a dude that brought like a super hot chick out of his league and finally figured out how to talk her up to a cabin and launched a couple of those fruity,
I don't know, bro, but it looked like a UFO. It looked like a UFO. It looked like something.
I believe you.
Interesting. So that's my
for
three
people,
encounters.
You've got that one hovering. How far away were you from the one hovering?
Probably half a mile. I know the field. Every time I drive by that field, I remember exactly where I pulled over. Every time.
For anyone watching, so there's Amazon Prime has a show, and it's pretty decent. It's 2 seasons worth. It's called Project Blue Book. And what Blue Book was something in the 50s during the Cold War, 60s, where the Air Force investigated UFOs. And it's a TV show, but it's really good. It's really good. There's only 2 seasons of it. They canceled the 3rd one. Highly recommend Project Blue Book on Prime. Yeah.
Man, there is so much we could talk about as far as Bigfoot, UFOs, pharmaceutical companies, to Western medicine, to, I mean, I'm all about all this stuff. And yes, BTC.
Listener on the show.
Can we what?
Can we send a link to a YouTube, somebody watching on YouTube?
Depends who you maybe.
I have the most to say.
I don't know.
Well,
sometimes that's not the best.
Well, maybe you're right.
The whole transhumanism thing is an interesting one too. There's a lot of religious scholars that are saying like they're leaning. Everyone always just try to figure out what's the mark of the beast, right? Well, there's transhumanism that the leading tech guys are leaning towards. That that's something that we could talk about maybe another time, but that's terrifying. Where they're linking the tech. Brian and I went to high school with a guy who 10 years ago was figuring out how to put microchips in bloodstream so they could get biometric readings off of soldiers. That was something 10 years ago. 10 years ago, they knew how to put something under your tongue and get all of your information, all of your data in terms of, pulse rate, blood oxygen levels and stuff like that. That was 10 years ago. Remember that, Brian? Talking to him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now, you know, the interface that they're trying to create, I don't know, man. It's
the metaverse.
The men of war.
Don't even start with that. I ain't ready for that one.
No, let's change the subject, dude. Let's talk about me not catching anything today.
No, this is the conspiracy creepy ghost UFO live. This is me to get to let loose one time a year and have some crazy guy named Brody with fucking
motherfucker, you let loose a lot more than one time a year. Like a whole lot. But it's all right.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any geese to feed like he does me sitting here. He gets to feed the geese with me on. This will probably be the only time I'm ever on, so let him have fun.
Oh my God.
I can't talk about this on like live. My God, we'd have to have a cricket sound effect if I brought up just any of these things on like live. My God.
Well.
Oh well, dude. Yeah, well, you know, we got sponsors now, so we can't have any. You know,
can't have any fun.
You guys know how that goes. Brody, it's good.
Oh God.
Wish I knew what you looked like, but I've heard a lot about you for a very long time. Thanks for selling all my shit on eBay. That was Well, yeah.
You should have seen some of the stuff for Pete that I sold one time. I came to get some stuff from Ike, and Pete got word that I was in town, and he was like, "Man, I got all this crap up in the top of my garage." Man, I go over there, and sure enough, he did. But it was covered in dust and grime, and he had wrote that stuff off years ago, and I wound up turning into a bunch of money for him, and he was thankful, and I was thankful as well. But yeah, I think I've pretty much sold for just about everybody there was that has a surplus of stuff.
Pete had the first like Whopper Plopper and Chatterbait, and you took them and sold them because he never took them out of the package and threw them. These are
the pirate in me, I say.
That's crazy. How many props did Denny Brower have?
Like 54 props. I sold. That is real. That is real. Is there why they kept them? Why him and Chad kept that many props? I have no idea. Maybe Chad's listening right now, or Denny. They could chime in on that.
I don't think.
And most of them were, maybe even missing an ear. So I mean, why did you even keep it? And why am I even trying to sell it? And I sold most of those props to a guy down in Kentucky Lake that's right outside of Moore's, I think. And he had a prop shop down there, and he wound up reworking most of those props. And there again, that was Chad and Denny's stuff. So most of their stuff were off of Evinrude. So, it's some pretty specific props back then. So that's 54 props.
You were saying props, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking like cardboard cutouts of Denny or something.
Oh,
well, I actually have the original Wheaties cardboard box that General Mills gave Denny, and it was in a dumpster when he was moving from Missouri down to Lake Amistad. He had thrown all the stuff in the dumpster, and when I was done loading up everything, I got in the dumpster and I took like 7 or 8 cases of Uncle Josh pork rind, and then that giant freaking Wheaties thing. And I have it up in my storage unit. I got a pretty hell of a collection of just crazy stuff from different guys over the years that have sent me loads. And then there was something in there that caught my eye, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep that so someday I could give it back to them. So I have something like that special from like Ike. I know I got something from Ike. I got something from Aaron Martins. I got something from Van Dam. I got a couple things from Swindle.
Well, Brody, you're also the guy. I mean, I remember staying with you at a hotel the Sunday night after the Bassmaster Classic, and you would be going down the halls, ripping out the carpet decals of the Bassmaster Classic all the way down the hotel. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're like, I'm going to sell this shit.
Sell it all.
Tearing up the whole everything.
Everything.
Dude,
And then I've
Dude,
kept
Hunter
some on the
Biden
too,
should have
like,
hired you to
they-
sell his finger paints, man.
What's that?
That's a
I
whole.
said Hunter Biden made a mistake. He should have hired you to sell his finger paints. Could have got $1 million for each one of them, dude.
Yeah,
Bro, their time's
I'm just
coming,
all
man.
about helping the fishing community
Their
and
time's
the
coming.
anglers out there, and over time they helped me get and achieve my goals of making the elites. Is why I started the business. I can't believe I actually made it from doing this, and here I am, you know, so many years later, even
On
after the
Smallmouth
elites,
Crush
and my
Live.
business is still thriving. And I don't really push it at all. I'm kind of like you said, Travis. You know, no one hears from me. I stay behind the scenes, but yet I'm on the phone every day with you know, Gary Guerin is, you know, Gary. He works so many promotions with us with Mercury at the Bassmaster Classic and stuff. He's been living with Aaron Martins for the last 2 years now, helping Leslie and the kids with Aaron. And so, you know, I'm there every day. So, you know, it's been yeah, it's been some yeah. I mean, it's been my life, dude. So wake up every morning, and you know, Lulu's calling me to do something for Swindle's site, you know, because I still running his site, and then all my stuff on the Brody of the Lake, and you know, I'm sure at some point that you know, Aaron's stuff will come my way, and we'll do that for the family, and yeah, it's just it. You know, I built this business when I didn't know what I was even building, you know, so many years ago. And I thought it was all just to go fishing, for me to go fish and be a pro. And in reality, it took me several years to figure out, no, that's not what this is about. I'm supposed to be that guy behind the scenes that makes it happen for people like Bank DeSaro or Bradley Stringer. I remember when them guys didn't have anything, and in the last stitch effort to make the elites or something, they're sending me something I sold, and that's what made their entry. And then next thing you know, Bank's on the tour. So I got so many stories for guys like that over the years, and the friendships that I had built with, like I said, the best damn anglers in the, you know, world. You know, they come and not just use my services, but they look at me as you know, a good angler as well as a trustworthy person and a good guy, you know. So yeah, I mean, I can't complain at all where I wound up being here.
Oh, dude, it's so awesome listening to you say this stuff wearing that costume right now.
I was just thinking the same thing, Brian.
It's fun.
Brody, we love you. We're going to get you back on the live. And before, listen, we're not done yet, but we're getting close to the end, guys. I do want to say next week's live is going to be on a Sunday again. I will be in Wisconsin. We're going to have the king of Alabama rigs, Larry, will be joining us next week, Sunday. And then we're going to go back to regular Monday, only because BTC, I don't want to say effed me.
Oh, stop.
But you decided to move.
How dare you?
Ike Live to Monday, and so I was the.
All right. So the true story is,
it wasn't Brian's fault.
No, I get told what day is possible,
It's fine.
and then I reached out to Travis and said, "Hey, this is what day we're going to do the show according to other people, not me." So I didn't fuck you. Mike did again.
But
and
if you know me, I don't give a shit. So we're
Yeah.
all good. Next week, Sunday the 7th. Then we're gonna go back to regular Mondays the 15th. Will be a Patreon. You're gonna want to tune into this because we're bringing in a special guest. Hold up, BTC, real quick. The 22nd, I got a huge show planned, and then the 29th of November, already after the week of Thanksgiving, we're gonna be doing the auction. You're gonna get all my shit I don't use.
Just give it to Brody, dude.
Kind of like Brody Lake. Well, Brody's gonna take,
dude.
you know, 20%. So, you know,
It's
me
more like
being
30, dude.
It'll save all of us.
But I guarantee you, I would sell your items for 30% more than you're going to get. So it pays for my fee.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, what was the movie with? What was the movie with Alec Baldwin where he was Beetlejuice talking to Brody? It's like when they were in like waiting in purgatory next to a guy and they're just having normal conversations. That's what it's like watching him talk with all that on. It's like the purgatory scene of Beetlejuice.
Like, everybody like shrinks his head down.
Yeah.
Hey, Brody, have you ever experimented with mushrooms or any type of ayahuasca or any DMT? Have you gone
I
down
am
those
all
trips?
Mr. Natural. I do not like any synthetics. So if there's any natural things that are on this God-given earth, whether it be a plant or a mushroom,
Pepper.
or an extract of some sort from either of those into a dryment of a tincture or one of those, sure.
Yeah.
Sphincter.
I actually make all kinds of stuff like that. I post that stuff all the time where, I was going and getting a
What do you
mushroom
make?
in the wild called turkey tail mushroom. That is, you can look it up. It is phenomenal for all cancer patients. It just pulls the toxins from your system, and it's really helpful for a lot of people on chemotherapy. And I was going into the wild and have been for 2 years and actually harvesting that for Aaron Martins, and I sent it to him.
Okay.
And he drinks a tea made from it every day.
I don't know if I should bring this story up. I'm not going to. But what you alluded to, Brody, and we talked last week about big
There's something
pharma.
in the wild within a mile of where you're at that will cure anything that you have. You just have to know how to find it, and now how to extract it, and then how to get it in your body properly to cure whatever ails you.
Brody, as I was saying, I don't want to bring this up, but I want to hint and maybe move this conversation along. But we talked last week about big pharma and some concerns, and that's one of the things I really, really am big into is naturopathic doctors and cures and things, and that I feel, call it big government or call it pharmaceuticals, are hiding or keeping from us. I don't necessarily think that if there was real cures, that information would just be broadcasted on the Today Show or the nightly news. That's part of my issue with the media.
Well, you
right
have
now.
everybody tromping out into the woods and tearing every plant up and making things go extinct, like the ginseng plant or the yellow root, which is now kind of going extinct in Ohio from over harvesting.
Like
and
the
wild plants that grow in the wild for 50, 60 years, one plant, and if you harvest that, it's gone from the wild. So, but yeah, there's powerful mushrooms and powerful roots. They've been used for thousands of years to cure everything. I mean, 200 years ago, cancer wasn't even talked about. I mean, I'm sure it was around, but they were using natural herbs, just the things they were using. I've always been an advocate of marijuana. I'll talk about it all the time. They're doing remarkable things in Colorado and with medical marijuana to cancer patients and shrinking tumors. And there's just it's being so suppressed by big pharmacy, but yet big pharmacy sees the money potential of it. But hey, let's just sell the flower and the weed side of it so we can make the tax revenue. But we're going to continue to suppress the medical side of it. And the medical side is where the people need to look, because that's where you're seeing success stories. These cancer patients with brain, stage 4 brain cancer or stage 4 lung cancer with tumors the size of baseball that they can't remove. And then they get on a oil regimen, which is absorbed into your lymphatic system. I'm not a doctor, but it does something, and it's beginning to shrink tumors in different patients and stuff. So I feel that science of natural herbs and medicines was lost, and those diaries were medical journals were thrown away long ago when the Rothschilds and the Rothsteins and all these huge corporate entities that were controlling big pharmacy, when they realized that they can synthetically make ginseng or they can synthetically make a yellow root extract. Where I live in Cincinnati, they used to grow yellow root all over the place back in the 20s and 30s, And then they stopped because Procter and Gamble didn't really need it anymore because they can synthetically make it. And over the years, all that stuff went down over the valleys and stuff. So it's still growing in our forests and woods. And you can find, 100-year-old crop somewhere if you're still lucky. But yeah, that's lost medicine that's here. So I will say again, there's something close to you. If it hasn't been ripped out and harvested, there's something close to you that can cure just about anything that you have if you just know how to do it.
Well, you guys know, and I may have talked about, I don't know if BTC knows, but I had some issues with my legs back in April, and I thought it was because I was standing so much, and it was enough to concern me that I went to a doctor, and that doctor ran tests and sent me to another doctor that sent me to another doctor that said, you need surgery. You need a bunch of veins taken out of your freaking legs. And I'm like, whoa, Brohim, you know what I mean? That didn't sound too pleasant. Surgery was scheduled for November. I contacted or reached out to a naturopathic doctor that I sat down with him for an hour, and he asked me tons of questions about lifestyle choices, this and that, and basically came to the conclusion that it's a magnesium and calcium deficiency, which of course Big Pharma can't make profits on that. He sent me a bunch of supplements. He said, cut this out of your diet. And dude, I'm not kidding. My symptoms have disappeared as of I'm good 3 months into the process now. And I canceled my surgery appointment because I don't have any issues now that I'm on those supplements.
Quick.
What's that?
How'd you get surgery appointment that quick?
Well, they need the money, Brohim.
Shit, you got
what screwed me up, dude? I literally go in for an ultrasound and they do like 20 minutes, and within 2 minutes of the doctor walking in the room, well, you got venous disease and it's hereditary. I'm like, I do a little research. There ain't too much that's hereditary, first of all. But that's their cop-out. That's what they love to say to get you scared as a patient. Your dad's got it, or you got small veins in your legs. We need to cut them out. He was ready to write up to get me in there and take my veins out, dude.
Sure, I will.
And it just pissed me off, man, that it was just an adjustment in diet and supplementation. And that pissed me off. Dave, what you got on that?
Well, I can excuse myself from this conversation because I'm 40 pounds overweight, so no one should be taking any advice on health from a fat guy. Seriously. Fat people shouldn't be up there lecturing about what's healthy and what's not. That's the joking side of it. I don't know. I think there's some medicine that's good for you, and I think there's some that's meant to just keep you alive while keeping the problem persistent in your body, because there's money to be made in it. Chris Rock famously said, "There's no money in a cure."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just
and that magical number 65, then they change it all so they can eliminate you, so they don't have to pay you or
depopulation, bro.
Medical system,
But I know Steve Jobs died of cancer, and Steve Jobs had access to the who's who of holistic healing.
Sure.
And yet he still passed away with cancer. So, I mean, I don't think it's the end all. Like, no one had more resources than Steve Jobs in terms of recent history fighting something in a holistic manner. Now, that being said, it's pretty amazing that all these royals and all the heads of the 13
are still alive and
102 years old, like vampires.
Explain that one.
Well, I mean, it might be along the lines of what you guys are talking. I'm not real well read in all this. I don't really follow it. Like I said, I'm a fat guy, so take that for what it's worth. The thing I just said,
if you keep certain levels in your body, like zinc and potassium, and you keep them at the level that they need to be, which is they're always fluctuating and they're always getting diluted with the crap that we eat and drink. But those are the two biggest things. You touched on that, Travis, with the potassium deal that you have. And most of the foods that we eat, that stuff has been extracted away from it. So it's very hard to keep your body at those levels without having some type of supplement to build yourself up to that. Like I harvest elderberries every year. People think I'm crazy that I go through the whole deal of smashing these elderberries and making my little tinctures, but that's Mother Nature's zinc in the wild. And when you, like, if you went to Kroger's and got a zinc pill and then pop it in your mouth, and by the time your stomach and acids and everything, you're going to get very little of it, and it's not going to bring you to your level. It's just not going to happen. And if you try to take more of it to bring you to that level, all you're doing is hurting your system, to do that. But if you take something like an elderberry or some of these other wild plants that have this just super juiced, vitamins in them, and if you can get those supplements into your body every day, you won't get sick. You just won't.
Brody, I have a question. I was listening to a guy named Zev Zelenko. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Well, he was talking about one of the main problems we have as humans is that we don't prep ourselves to receive half the things we put in our body. That something like quercetin allows your cell membranes to soften up to absorb zinc and D3 and C and these vitamins that our bodies are just walking around naturally deficient at now. We're naturally deficient. And he said mainly because we don't prep ourselves the way our natural foods used to. Do you know anything about any of that? Or
yeah, I mean, totally. Like my wife's had some different health issues, and one of the doctors that we really like, he thought that she needed to go more on to a turmeric regimen every day. Well, the more that you read about turmeric, everybody's growing it, everybody's got it, it's on every pharmaceutical shelf, but they fail to tell you that you just can't take it alone. You have to take it with other natural things to prep your body to be ready to get its nutrients from the turmeric that you're actually taking. And black pepper is always a really good thing to use. And there's just oils. Oils are the biggest thing. Fish oils and some other things, if they're extracted properly, your body needs those. And we just don't get them from what we're eating, because it's the processed food takes all that stuff away. I'm all about the oil.
Someone on Telegram posted a picture of one of our boardwalks in America in the 1950s with everyone walking down it, and it was at least 1,000 people in this picture, and there wasn't one fatty in the group.
Right, they're all skinny. They're all skinnies as rails. Yeah,
it was like, wow, like, God, man.
But that was before TV dinners and box dinners, Hot Pockets and
gluten.
Totally just box prepared things. There again, that's the laziness of America. Hey, let's put it in a box, let's pull it out of the freezer and throw it in the microwave and eat it. And no one really, and they think people eat it just because they're hungry, but they don't realize your hunger is coming from
your nutrient deficiency is causing
you're
your
always
hunger.
going to be hungry if you're eating Hot Pockets. I mean, you're just never going to get.
But those look good, BTC. What is that? Stuffed peppers?
That is.
You always bring the best food.
Oh, dude.
I stopped eating red meat.
What?
3.5 years ago.
What?
Bros.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I still crave it.
Grass fed.
I can smell it to this day, and I'll fudge every once in a while. But I found, I'm 53 years old now, and I got an injury. I had a picnic table slide out of the back of a pickup truck and hit me in the large intestine and pinned me against the tailgate. And there again, I didn't go to the hospital for a couple of days, got sepsis, and then wound up in the ICU for 10 days. But, once I did that, I figured out that my body wasn't processing it right. And if I eliminated red meat from my diet, and then I would supplement other proteins, white meats, I would live a healthier life. And I think I have. there again, you know, my dad and my grandfather, they all died at, you know, very young age, within 10 years of my age now. So, you know, I want to not be a statistic or follow what they want to say as in, oh, that's in your genes. Well, no, that's in my choices.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be genetically, but your choices tend to you know, or everything. Like he said before, your choices. It's your choice.
I hear you. Listen, I put up a comment by Scott. BTC is the most sober I've ever seen. I agree with that, and I thought I was on Scott's team until 2 comments down. He writes, I would pay to fish with BTC way before Travis. So, Scott, you're on my shit list right now.
Well, Sean lies on my shit list because he disagreed with Sean with Scott. So yeah, Sean.
Yeah. Sean, you
know what, Sean? Take this a couple of plays off. Listen, I'm not that certain. Right? Just want everybody to know. It's all fucking
damn.
off.
Dave, what else you got, man? Tell us some stories, man.
No.
Yeah.
Dave, how was your trip to Lowe's today?
I didn't go to Lowe's today, dude.
But yesterday.
I didn't go to Lowe's. I don't understand.
How about where you go that doesn't involve politics or?
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. No, seriously. Hold on. Wait. I do have one really good comment that came through, but I don't want to go down this fucking rabbit hole.
Let's go. Let's go, because we're running out of time, you know.
Shut the hell up. We got all the time we want.
Okay.
Hang on there.
Oh, I just thought of something good. I could tell.
Oh, fuck.
Go ahead.
I just thought of a good story.
I heard it. Steve Miller. Evil began escalating exponentially when the cabal brought the particle colliders online. I agree. Epic Eric, I love you, but I agree with that.
And what do you know about CERN, David?
So what I do know, Brian brought it to my attention maybe about 2 months ago, and I had heard it. I didn't look into it, but I have looked into it a lot since then, and they think it opened a portal to another dimension where these dark forces are coming through, and that, I mean,
don't laugh.
It makes sense.
Don't laugh it off. Sean is laughing off this. You motherfucker, pay attention.
That's right. And here's another thing. Time is speeding up and time is faster. I don't care what your excuse is. Oh, you're just getting older. Bullshit. Time is flying by right now.
Yeah.
And that's man-made.
Have you
man-made
testimonies that they opened that facility with?
The Mandela effect. Let's go there. I mean, where do you want to go?
But it's important what Brian just mentioned. You have to watch the video. You have to watch the celebration they did to kick that thing off, man. It's one of the most Satanistic damn things you'll ever. It was worse than the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
And most people thought that was entertainment, the Super Bowl halftime show. I saw it for what it was, and I immediately knew what it was.
But it's funny. No, but slipping it in, dude. And I'm like, I grew up with this shit.
The show. I'm just enjoying the show. I'm gonna go cast my crankbaits, catch a couple fish, but I'm enjoying the show.
I grew up in a Pentecostal church where it was there was a lot that went on. There was speaking in tongues. I saw a lot of things. And I spent the last 20 something years of my life, maybe 30 now, kind of really doubting a lot of it. And it's just the last 6 months, 8 months, year, maybe, that I've really reevaluated a lot. And, you know, what is proven to be a fact to me without a shadow of a doubt is that evil is real, and it's out there, and I'm sorry, it just freaking is, and it's pervasive through our society. Anyhow, I don't want to go down this fucking rabbit hole anymore, but whatever, you guys figure your shit out for yourself. There's a lot of information out there.
But the best part about this is, Travis, growing up, me and Brian had kind of like douchey stepdads, and Brian's stepdad was like, you know, really super religious. Mine just hated me. And like, I wasn't even allowed in Brian's house with Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't know what the devil was or nothing, but he was onto it, dude. And after was just one video Brian and I watched, this 5-hour-long documentary about the Masons and their ties to Luciferian and all this shit. But anyway, all I did was I said, damn, dude, who knew? Brian's stepdad's name was John Marshall. I said, who knew John Marshall was right, dude? Like, I had no idea that guy was right with the shit he wouldn't let me do, you know?
I'm trying to avoid the evil talk, the dark,
yeah, we'll get off it.
This. No. I mean, in my own life, like, I can't handle that. I'm trying to stay. I don't know where to go with this. It's too much, man.
All right, I got a good story to get off all that political crap.
Well, that wasn't. We really didn't go political at all, Brody. We could have went hardcore political tonight, and we did not.
Very much so.
And I'm proud of myself for that.
No,
let's go, Brandon.
This
go
got
ahead.
A graveyard in it. You know, this got a graveyard in it.
Okay.
And so let's tell this story, because this is actually kind of a weird thing that goes back that it's your senses and how in tune are you with things around you. And so we're at Santee Cooper one time, and this is a Bassmaster event. And the first day, if I remember correctly, gets canceled because of weather. So Thursday is canceled because of weather. So my traveling partner, Tidrow, he's like, man, let's go do something, dude. Let's get out of the house. Let's go. Well, we used to always travel to a battlefield. I've even taken Travis.
We've been to battlefields, bro.
Yeah. I always wanted to go to something historical in that area where I could try to get in tune with, I don't say it's a spirit or the person, but I just, you know, I just love the history and there again, the you know, just the aura of, you know, why, you know, this area is here and how it was founded. So, yeah. So we're looking on the map and we can't really find anything around Santee Cooper. And I'm looking, I'm like, let's find where Francis Marion was buried. Well, one of the lakes is named after Francis Marion, who was I think he was a famous general, and I think they called him the Gray Fox or something like that. But anyway, so we find out where this place is, and so we're driving to it, and Tom, you know, got the old Tom on the truck back then, and got it all programmed in, and we're driving, and all of a sudden it turns into this just like 1-lane road. And it's just beautiful trees, and it's just, I mean, it's gorgeous, dude. And it kind of reminds you of going down like an old plantation road to an old plantation house, but we can't really see anything but like this church at the end of the road. So we're driving, and Tidrow looks at me, and he's kind of got this feeling, and I got this feeling, kind of like I got the feeling right now, this aura, and you know, where your nipples get hard, you know, it's just like you feel like something's going on. And he's like, dude, you think any other pro fishermen have ever come down this road, you know, going to doing something like this? And I was like, you know, dude, I feel Davy Height. And we both start laughing, and nothing comes of it. So we go and we get there, and it's this old dilapidated church that's no longer in use. And you can actually walk inside, and you know, it's like one of those little historical buildings. And then there's this graveyard, and it has Francis Marion and all these other people buried there from way back in during the I guess that would have been the Battle of
Revolutionary War.
Yeah, Revolutionary War. So we're looking at all these graves and stuff, and we actually do a cleanup. There's all this trash there and everything, and me and Tidrow wind up spending a good hour and a half just bagging up garbage, and we clean this entire like grave site up and around the church, and there's really nowhere to even throw the garbage away, and but we throw it in the back of the bed of the truck, and we go back to the one main grave site that's there, and I wind up picking some wildflowers. I was like, dude, let's go pay tribute to him, man, because I'm gonna be fishing on that body of water all day, you know, the next 3 days hopefully. And as we go to this, like the marble stone and everything, and we're reading Francis Marion, blah, 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 and we get down to the bottom, and the headstone at the bottom, the person that carved it is D height. Shit you not, dude. Both of us were like, bah! I immediately called Davey Height on the phone. I was like, dude, is this guy related to you? And I'm like sending him pictures and shit. And he wasn't related, but it was so weird that me driving there, I felt D height. And I actually said that, you know, and then, you know, an hour and some later, here it is carved, just wee little, because he was the man that actually carved the marble stone itself. It's crazy, dude. Crazy. And then I wound up cashing a hell of a check in that event, by the way. I think Scroggins won that one, but I can't remember.
Good story, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that one. That's a graveyard and everything.
It's fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
You lived that moment before, maybe.
I've had so many things like that all the way up until I made the elites. And I would even tell people, I was like, man, they should have a freaking camera on me, because weird ass shit would always happen.
Obviously.
All the time. And I would almost have like premonitions of stuff. And then it would, you know, happen. And then that's what fascinated me with The Secret, because I literally believed The Secret, and I still do. I mean, I can create whatever. I mean, I'm the master of my own domain. And, you know, that's why I made the Elites, because I believed that I would. And that's why I did. And that's one of the reasons why most of the people never ever make it, is because they don't believe that they will. So,
well, it's belief, but followed up, backed by strong feelings. Feelings is what makes change in your physical presence. It's feelings. Tip of the day.
Well, yeah.
Is that too deep, BTC?
That's deep, bro. You're getting deep.
Feelings?
Bro, I'm telling you.
I'm with you.
If you can be in a state of if you can have strong emotional feelings to what you desire and the changes that you want, but if you can hold it there throughout all the distractions, which is the hardest thing a physical human being can do.
Totally, dude. You have to stay totally intuitive.
Is one of the most beneficial things that can happen to you. And I have countless stories of when I was able to hold in that state long enough where your spiritual, your call it your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, would be able to manifest based off of your feelings.
You know, Rick Klein used to actually have classes that he would talk about, and this is exactly what the classes were about.
Yeah,
they were never about, you know, what lure to use or any of that stuff. It was about like nature's cues, or how to be intuitive of a bird flying, or how the cows are standing on the side of the hill. And you know, I've lived that entire life.
Which way the bass are pointed in your live well when you open the lid up?
I never thought about that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
I think you guys right now, the screen has the four of us, and you two are up top talking about this topic appropriately. So me and Dave are on the bottom of the two of you. And I think it's kind of symbolic of the fact that I think, Dave, maybe you could agree with me. I can't relate.
You can't?
No.
Why?
Not even fishing. You can't relate. Like, here, let me say an instance, okay?
Local
now,
shit.
Just as a regular day, bro, and you go out on maybe your favorite waterway, and I always called it like the bloodhound feeling. Like a bloodhound dog can sniff that rabbit in that bush, and you can actually just be watching that dog even before he flares or points or anything.
Right.
You can see him react, and that feeling, I know you've had that feeling before, dude. I know you've caught a fish because of your intuitiveness that you had during what was going on in that period of time in nature.
Yeah, and my head was somewhere else, but to back you up on what you said, I caught a fish. I knew I was going to catch it before I caught it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So that
imagine staying in that intuitiveness for 8 hours during the tournament, dude. Imagine that.
Yeah,
that's what Rick Clunn is talking about in some of his classes. And there is that pinnacle of people, whether you're being a NASCAR driver running around a lap, 500 times, or a marathon runner, or a
Brody.
cyclist.
I don't know KVD's story back in the day when he was on it, but I promise you, it was his mindset over
Totally, dude.
baits or technology.
Totally.
It was
you
his
get
mindset.
to the point where you believe so much that everyone around you believes so much that the positive energy is unbreakable, dude, and you can do anything. So it becomes a little bit different. It's not just about you. It's everybody around you has to believe as well.
Brody, I think this is it.
Okay. That's why the power of prayer. When people say that, I'm not a big religious person. I'm a power of energy and negative energy, but that is powerful, dude. When you and so
I gotta make a quick point before I lose it. What we're just talking about, I think, is the surface of life and how it truly works. And Dave, I think that's why there's powers that be, because they know the truths that they don't want the general public to know. I think there's gatekeepers out there.
Ah, love that word.
Does that make sense? Sorta.
It does. They've just done a real good job of making us all lazy and living in our little squirrel cages.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't pay attention. We just don't.
Well, this Halloween special wouldn't be a special if I did not share this one last story, that personal story that I have. And some of you may have heard it in the past, but I was teleported through time, and I want to share that experience with you guys because it was very strange and unreal, and it happened. True. I was heading up to upstate New York. You guys that know this, my buddy Kevin and I were driving, and we were on Highway 81 heading up to Lake Ontario. And the next thing you knew, we were looking to our left, and there was Lake Cayuga. And we have no idea how we got from Highway 81 to Cayuga, nor we both looked at each other like, what in the... We had no idea. We were literally 2 hours away from where we were supposed to be in a matter of instants. And we can't explain it.
Yeah.
You guys have heard me talk about it, I'm sure. Let me know in the comments.
How long ago was this, Travis?
Probably about 2015.
Really?
Were you able to access your Google timeline?
No. Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, if you have on your phone, like if you're using Google Maps, then your timeline tells you exactly where you are, when you were there, the date and the time and all that. That's all. It would have just been a quick reference point to be able to access at 9:08 where you were versus 9:30.
What was honestly so weird about that was it was the middle of the night. How we got off track so much without even knowing or realizing for 2 hours, and then it felt like we were at Cayuga instantly. And it literally took us, once we woke up and realized where we're at, it took us 2 hours to get back to the main road to get to our destination we were currently heading.
What?
And yeah, dude. I mean, you can
That's
ask
not
Kevin.
uncommon. That's not uncommon in UFO encounters, people losing time.
Dave, that happened to us on Lake George. Right? 1 minute we're hanging out talking to chicks. Next minute, passed out underneath a bush.
That was
cops were trying to find.
That was you poisoning me with your illicit substances.
Well, first of all, I don't like the fact that Google can track everywhere I'm going. That was disturbing, but
you could turn it off. You don't have to leave it on.
Listen, they already know everything. They're listening.
They're listening to you all the time. Yeah.
They're listening to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They were listening 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to talk about Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci and all that stuff tonight, but I don't think we're going to get there. That would be maybe for another time. I'm sure Dave's
I'd
got
love
a
to
lot
tell you
of.
how I came around on 9/11. I'd love to tell you my 9/11.
Do you believe? I got to ask you, Dave. Do you think the people that died in that plane crashed into that building, or do you think they were not in that plane or object that we saw?
All right, so we went to war a couple years later, and we were flying drones all over the country, bombing people. I think that the guys on board thought they were taking the plane for a ride, and I think we took the plane for a ride, remote control, and I think all those people died on that plane at the hands of our government to start a war, start a 20-year war, and cash in on all of the ruin. And there was a time I would have fought somebody over that. There's a time I would have lined up with my tribe, and I would have fought somebody over that statement that our government was capable of that. But I've come around on that. I'm fully aware that and believe that they are.
The shit that's going on in the last year, 4 or 5 years, especially the last year. Oh Jesus, I'm out. So I want to fucking paying attention, but I keep it right there. And I try to go out and fish and not catch anything at least once a week.
My extreme worries right now.
For anyone watching, I'm sorry, Travis. I was going to say for anyone watching, this isn't crazy talk. Look up Operation Mongoose. Mongoose was where they were going to have the Cubans invade Miami so we could attack Cuba. This is documented. It's declassified information. Operation Mongoose. That's where you hear the term false flag. And that's to justify the response.
My biggest concern moving forward is, of course, just prices, inflation, retirement.
Crazy. We went to the grocery store today.
I mean,
you know, I have an empty nest now. It's just me and my wife, and you know, we used to have 4 kids here with half the neighborhood, and we'd feed everybody. And you know, you'd go to the grocery store and a couple times a month and spend a couple $100 each time. And then when the kids moved out, you know, me and my wife were thinking, man, we're going to save a ton. We're not saving anything. It's exactly the same now. You know, one of the things I noticed today is lunch meat and just sliced ham was at $9 a pound for sliced ham. That's not inflation, dude. That's just fucking rip off there.
Gouging. It's gouging.
Gouging. They're using the pandemic and COVID and all this is an excuse to run these prices up. Everybody is, every business, and that's what we're going to see for the next 3 years. And yeah, there might have been a bunch of people, you know, milking off the government last year or even this year with unemployment and stuff like that, but this is the way they're going to get it all back, and they're going to get it tenfold. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't ready for it. You know, I think we're ready for it. You know, I made some wise investments over the years in crypto market, and the crypto market's kind of where I want to put my money right now. I don't even really trust any of the banking systems. It's crazy to say that because a year ago I would say no. Don't.
2 years from now, when you guys want to go grab your $20,000 out of the bank and it ain't there, you're going to be freaking. That's all I got to say. It ain't that easy. It's scary. You know how hard it is just to get $5,000 in cash out of the bank? You got to call days ahead.
Oh yeah.
You got to make an appointment.
And it's only going to get worse next year when you're going to have to, your banks are going to actually have to report that, hey, you know, Mr. Broderick just took out $600 today. What's he going to do with that $600? You know, he's already made his house payment. He's already made his car payment. What's he going to do with that $600? You know, what's he doing?
Yeah, fortunately, they took that out. That got taken out took out last week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still watching that anyway. That's always how I kind of ran my business. It's always kind of been that way. You know, you got to report anything that you bring in. You know, 600. I just thought it was going to be. I knew the banks would put an end to it because it would be such a cumbersome to them. They would have to hire all new staffing, everything, just to report to the government who's taking money out and possibly what are they purchasing. And I think they're going after guys like me. You know, I run a consignment store. I'm selling goods that have already been taxed.
Yeah,
sitting in someone's garage, and they're not doing anything for them. They own the item. They already purchased it. I'm just performing a service, taking a commission. But then again, the government comes right into the Brody of the Lake store every year, and I have to pay full tax. And then on top of that, whatever I make, then I'm income taxed on. So I am actually double taxed.
Oh, it's coming. It's going to come. This was just a test to gauge, to see how warm the atmosphere is for it. They'll figure out a way to make that happen. They'll create a problem where that is the answer to it, and one of many answers, but that will be something. And that's to get the contractors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Brody, what's your best Ike story of, I don't know, something that like he tried to get you to sell on eBay?
Who, Ike stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some good stuff with Ike.
Come on, man.
You know, I actually sold for Ike 2 different loads that I can remember. The first load is right when he built the house, and we were actually just moving into the house.
Yeah.
Him and Becky, I don't think were married, but they were actually living together at the time. I was up there at Christmas, and we put the Christmas tree up, and he had already had the U-Haul already loaded. So I never really got a chance to even see what he even put in there. Had no idea, man. But I left from there, then drove over to his mom's house and picked up, I don't know how many boxes from his mom's place. And then we came on home, because I think I went to Pete's place on the second trip. So when I get home and we start going through the stuff and inventory and stuff, there's 3 shoe boxes. And I'm thinking, man, these are cool. You know, they got Ike's name on them. I can't remember the name of the shoe. But when you open the box, there's only 1 fucking shoe in each of the boxes. I'm like, what the fuck? How the hell am I going to sell
why would you have that
shoe? You know? And it's just the craziest thing. And they got kind of put to the side for a while, and then, you know, stuff started rolling. And then, you know, Ike and how he promotes stuff, you know, he was immediately, hey, Brody of the Lake's got all my stuff, and it was all over the internet, you know, Brody of the Lake, Brody of the Lake. So I sold just 1 shoe to someone somewhere 3 different times, and maybe they'll, you know, come in tonight and say, hey, I bought one of those shoes. But yeah, just single shoes of Ike's I sold. That's probably the craziest and strangest thing I sold of his.
Right on.
Funny.
You have to ask you about that. I sold a lot of stuff for Mike.
Yeah, you did all the
busted steez rods. I mean, just the handle, and you know, just a busted steez.
Yeah, Butterfinger is gluten free.
And that guy would probably buy it, and then send it in, and then get a new rod. Man, we sold a lot. Yeah. I'm not hiring that way.
Hey, listen, good show. I want to bring Alex back in here. Maybe to start wrapping some things up tonight, Alex. I think it was a good show. I mean, we could have went in a lot of different directions. We kind of just touched the surface. Listen, I would have loved to talk more about CERN, about Hunter Biden. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, there was a lot of great conversation going on tonight. I really enjoyed listening to it, and I'm sure the viewers did as well. There was definitely a lot of different avenues we could have gone down. I'm glad we ended up where we did and didn't go too far off the train tracks. We might have kept one rail on the train track.
Now, we want your opinion on everything we talk about tonight. Go.
All right, go. Here we go. So when we had Nikko Baits on back in February, I think it was Scott from Nikko Baits. Travis, correct me. It was either Bill or Scott from Nikko Baits.
Yep.
I think it was Scott. Yep.
Yep.
And so Travis had me up to like 2 a.m. and they're talking in the after hours after the show had ended. Scott
after recording.
Yeah.
We talked for 2 freaking hours with him about all this stuff.
It was way longer.
He was an ex-pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
Higher up in pharmaceuticals.
And they were going, Travis and Scott were going deep and deep and deep. And I was seriously sitting here falling asleep. I was like 2 a.m. in the morning. I wanted to go to bed. But the thing that Scott said that stuck out to me was just, there's so much stuff going on in the world. Just whatever you're doing, whether it be teaching people how to fish, whether it be remodeling kitchens, whether it's, you know, delivering UPS packages, do the best at your job that you can do and work as hard as you can at what you do and try to make someone's life better every day. And that will help make us, it'll take us a couple steps further than we were the day before. And that really stuck with me, even though I was falling asleep at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, Travis, I want to go to bed. I got class in the morning. Come on. It really stuck with me, and, it really molded in my mind. Just whatever you're doing, whether it's selling Ike's Broken Steve's reels on the internet, taking away from BTC's profit on his own eBay, site. Do the best you can do at whatever you're doing, and everything else will figure itself out. So that stuck with me personally. So that's my opinion. Whatever's going on in the world, do the best you can do. Eat your gluten-free Butterfingers. Eat your half-gallon of ice cream. Do whatever you got to do.
As long as it's gluten-free and you're well nutrified, you'll be all right.
That's right.
Okay.
So that was my takeaway from that.
Good work, Alex.
Thank you.
And Alex, by the way, Brian never gets rid of anything he owns. Brian will never have an eBay account. The only reason why he would is to buy something. He is a hoarder. He don't get rid of anything, dude.
It's amazing. I think every angler out there is a hoarder. I
that's
myself have such a surplus. I can't find anybody to sell my stuff.
Brody, where do you? I just got to ask. Do you have like a warehouse, or where do you
Yes,
keep
I do. I actually have two 1,200 square foot warehouses side by side. So I have 2,400 square foot that I just have boxes of guys' stuff packed up, ready to go. Some of the guys would rather not me tell their names, but yeah. So I honor that. And then some guys like Ike, they just want to plaster it all over there. My stuff's in Brody's store. Him and Denny were that way. Some of the other guys would rather not know that I'm selling their Strike King lures surplus that they get, $2,000 worth of baits every year, and next year they get another 2,000, and the next year another 2,000, and it just stacks up over the years. Especially when you get into somebody like Denny Brower that was fishing for 35 years and never threw anything away ever. It was amazing to get into his load, and some of the stuff I kind of kick myself for selling now, just because I know the value of it too and what it is sold for, but yeah, I'm that liquidator, and that's me, and I can't keep everything.
The liquidator.
Now put that clip.
Gosh, we got two for tonight now.
Back to you, bro.
Awesome.
Damn. What's everyone doing tomorrow? Dave, what you got going on? What time you got to wake up in the morning?
I'm probably going to be suffering a huge allergic reaction from all this makeup that I have on. It's probably my deal.
You have to go rub some cow jizz on your face or something, dude. Some natural stuff. I don't know.
I'm gonna have
it affect my deer hunting in the morning too. Walking the woods like this.
Alex.
Yeah, I got.
All right.
So tomorrow I'm looking at a bunch of Bass University work. Gotta interact with the fans on all the social channels there. So probably do that for a couple hours tomorrow. I definitely have a lot of schoolwork I need to get done. I've been slacking on that a little bit.
Every time you say Bass University on this show, Travis rolls in his Trav. It's not a grave. What do you hang in at night?
The rod
coffin.
On top of my truck.
On top of his check engine light F-150.
So yeah, fucking oil engine light. Sometimes I get text messages and stuff, and this is kind of a cool one. Cape Way Kent. Brody was talking about nipples getting hard, and I couldn't relate. He said I had a funny face when Brody said that. I laughed so hard. I don't experience nipple hardness.
No.
Like, is it?
Dude, mine get rock hard.
Do you? BTC?
Second date.
I mean, rock hard, dude. You can like put a ring on it.
Dude, the second date I had with my wife, and dude, she's way out of my league, right? I was perpetrating a fraud. I don't know how I was pulling this shit off. And we're on our second date. We're somewhere, fucking whatever, eating like hummus, back before everybody hummus at the store. Like hummus was Hummus was like, oh, yeah, you on that hummus, right? We're eating that hummus. And we're talking about fucking nipple piercings or whatever. I don't even remember. Sit at this table. And I just got in the zone, you know what I mean? I was just in there. And I was like feeling the conversation. And we're talking, and all of a sudden she's like, what are you doing? And like, as we're talking, I just was like full blown, just fucking milking my like right there, just fucking milking out my front of her. I just got in there. Understand? You know what I mean? It's just like, you just like feeling the moment, and you forget yourself. You forgot there's people around, and she's right there. You're just like, ugh. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Oh man, can't say I've done that before.
No, there's still time, son.
Yeah, I think my nipples are I don't know like you're talking about it right now. But I think they're a little bit bigger because of something that actually happened to me when I was like 14, and I was boogie boarding down on Virginia Beach somewhere, and I remember hitting this one wave, and it just rolled me and sent my whole like chest into the sand, and it ripped my freaking nipples off. And when I remember, getting up to try to get my board and blood just dripping down from my nipples. So I think over time, I think I grew like bigger nipples.
Yeah.
Because I ripped them off.
Do you suffer from nipple seepage? Maybe.
No, it's just bloody.
Okay.
They were just bloody. I ripped them off. And then when they grew back, I think they grew back twice the size.
Wow.
So when it gets cold out, man, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I didn't say. We're gonna need, for a thumbnail for the post for this show, we're probably gonna need
nipples. I think it started out awesome. I mean, from Matt coming on dressed like a cat, like a puma, and then Epic Eric, he would not have been able to. Yeah, Epic was pretty epic. That was the most epic thing I've ever seen in my life. It
was dope. Yeah, he said, "Prove I'm out."
Dave, you got a lot of Dave. You and I are on the same page. The problem is not everybody's ready for us yet. That's the truth.
No, that's why I try to give sources. If anyone does want to pay attention, here's something to I just give a little tiny something to start with, and it all starts with this right here. Once we answer this, once we answer this, the killing of JFK,
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Well, it's more than that, but there's a lot more than that.
Right.
But that's where everyone should start at. That's where everyone should start at, is digesting as much of that as possible. Because the same people that did that are the same people that's doing what they're doing right now to this world.
Nah, don't digest it. Just when everybody gets on board to cut off all their heads in DC, just line up. We're gonna cut all their fucking heads.
It's way deeper than that, BTC.
No, we got to cut their heads off. Yeah, everybody up. Everybody's fucking Hollywood.
I know a way to correct this, honestly.
Fucking heads off.
If you're a politician, I don't care if you're in Congress or a senator or what, you get paid X amount of money per year, $80,000. You get audited. That's the most money you can make a year. You're a senator, you make 80 grand. Then the true people that want America first and want to govern America the way it should be governed and create laws and rules and help us succeed, the other people won't want to stick around because they're making millions off of being in politics.
Yeah.
All you have to do, it's so simple. I don't understand it. If you're going to be in Congress, you make $80,000 a year and that's it. And you will get audited. You can't take bribes. No money coming in under the table. This is what you make. Now go to work. Dave, is that so wrong to think that way?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's idealistic. I don't know. It's not anything that's going to happen. The whole system has to be taken down and rebuilt. And when it's rebuilt, that is one of the tenets that have to be in place, to where your financial records need to be absolutely transparent. We're not saying you have to come in as a broke person or you got to live in a pauper's life doing the job. But Nancy Pelosi is worth $300 million.
Why?
Pick her head off.
Exactly.
Kickbacks and the stock
Mostly
market.
insider trade. Yeah.
Insider trading. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I do a lot of day trading sitting at home, and I've seen it more this year alone than I've ever seen it, to the point where I literally have pulled, other than my mutual funds and stuff, I pulled all my day trading and all my funds directly out of the market because I seen it being so manipulated by the new power that is in there now. And I thought that I was savvy enough that I could play their game and invest in their stocks, and try to get, tips and, invest in what their private, guys are investing in, Biden's and all of them are investing in all kinds of money. I mean, that's all his son ever does is play the stock market. So, he's got insider trading. And so I pulled my money out of it, and thank God I put it into the crypto market, and hopefully it continues to go where it's at, and I'll be retired in 5 years, and they start a senior tour, I'll be back out there fishing again. So,
the senior tour.
Waiting for it, Jay.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna get you. Bring all them old boys and me out there, and I'll be ready. I'll kick their ass. I did. I started fishing again too, and I got to get with you, Travis, because I'm heading to Chickamauga. I made the championship for the USA Bassing again.
Nice.
For Chickamauga in end of April next year. That's kind of your time frame when you did well down there this past year, didn't it?
Yeah, but I winged it, bro. I had no idea.
Yeah, I like winging it though. I'm a winger. When I go in with a set plan, I suck, dude. It all falls apart.
Well, good stuff, guys. I don't want to keep going till the wee hours of the morning. Dave, thanks for coming on. You're always welcome back. BTC.
Off with their fucking heads.
Anarchy.
I'll tell you what, Travis. If you create another kind of show, I'll come back. But I don't think your fishing people want to see me probably till next October 31st.
Not all of them are ready for this, and that's fine. We will.
Yeah, I'll come back next October 31st.
The only time I go off of my rants is if Eric kind of gets me going, or I might say something every once in a while, and then he'll gravitate towards that one sentence and then drag me down. But that's normally, I don't try to get off track too much, but it was fun. Like I said, we didn't know where this was going to go tonight. I think we kept it pretty good. I think all of our sponsors are still happy with us. And if they're not, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah. Hey, two things.
Go ahead, BTC.
Dave's going to make it Monday night? What do you mean no?
Uh-oh.
I'm not off on Mondays. I'm off on Friday and Saturday, and I can do Sunday nights.
Why can't you do Monday night if you could do Sunday night?
Because I go into work at 3 p.m, Monday through Thursday. Sunday, I go in 10:30.
Fuck. 10:30 in the morning?
I made it clear Sunday night was the only night I can do it. I told you weekdays.
I keep track of your schedule.
I'm not watching it anymore. Come on.
Oh, that's fucking.
Dave makes the show.
Well, Dave, part of it.
I've also almost ended it a couple times, so don't be too celebratory.
I'd rather go out like that. Anyhow, Ike Live coming up in Monday, November 8th, Travis?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You plug it on your show. I appreciate you, man. But I don't know. Mike's got an announcement to make. Might be a big deal.
Really? Where's he going?
I would stay with TV and screw the system. That's stay with TV and screw the system.
We'll see. We're gonna find out. I think it'll be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I wish you were gonna be there. Damn it.
I know.
Anyhow.
I do think if he makes the decision to go back to the Elites, he'll be one hell of a terror, because he'll go with a different mindset than when he left.
I think he's going to NPFL.
No, I think he's going to stay with TV.
Now, any smart person right now,
that's what
any smart person would either qualify for the Elite. It'd be hard if you qualify for the Elites or NPFL. if you're thinking about fishing, so MPFL is amazing. There's a lot of anglers that can't catch them on that tour right now. And if you can, I'm just being honest, if you can get in, it's golden. I'm telling you, you can clean up.
I wouldn't say I sat here and, I watched some of the events. I knew, several of the guys that were fishing. There's several guys right here from Ohio that, grew up in the club system, and, I was rooting for them. And I was actually kind of surprised. Now, I thought those guys did a really good job for their first year with what they had. They actually were quite impressive. I was impressed by it.
Yeah,
And
I didn't see it, Brody. I didn't see it coming. It would have been a better decision fishing the opens. Would have been better to fish the MPFL than the opens. I think.
Well, it depends on what your goal was there.
Right.
If your goal was just to go out and compete to better yourself as an angler, yeah, I think that was a better decision, maybe, to do that. Just doing part two, it's new. You can kind of break a piece of that off for yourself and run with it, where you're going into the opens where they've flooded the opens now. I think that's like over a 200 boat field where they used to cap it. And I don't even think there's a cap anymore. They'll just take as many as they can get.
No cap.
And then they've changed it with the point system, and I won't want to say that they're manipulating things, but they can kind of you can't have an off day. You can't lose a fish. I mean, things are a little different on the opens back to when me and you qualified, 10, 15 years ago. It was the same back then too. You couldn't have a bad day, but you could make a run because you could outfish majority of the guys on the opens. I mean, that's the way I felt. Coming from Ohio, I didn't have as much knowledge as everybody, but I knew I could outfish most of them just by making more casts, more presentations, and believing that I could do it. And I think that's why I got there. So yeah, I think that newer tour would have been a more perfect fit for me if I was coming back and I had that investment for 2 years and said, hey, Brody, what are you going to do? You're going to go fish the opens? You're going to go fish MLF, or can you go fish this new tour? I would have probably took my money to the new tour just to see how it was. And like you said, I don't want to speak down upon anybody, but yeah, I right off the bat, I can beat half of those guys just because I think I could outfish them.
Well, but that's what everyone thinks when they signed up for that.
But you have to have that confidence to throw $50,000, $60,000 in advance at something. Now, are you going to throw $50,000, $60,000 in advance to Bassmaster? Nah, no way. Not after what I know and what I've been through. No way.
Hey, if you got 60 grand to throw into something, throw it into President Trump's Truth social media platform when that goes public.
Man, I don't play those.
When will it go public, bro?
This concrete stuff.
February 22nd.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just fascinated right now by the information I just obtained.
Travis is going to retire at 40 now.
Dave, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Dave, I know
they say Biden was the most popular president in history, got the most votes ever. But there's a lot of peeps behind what Trump was doing for the economy. Listen,
see, he had to get the most votes ever to be the person that had the most votes. See what I mean? So
I'm not going to go there. I hope that the individual state audits and the information that are going to come out from that will hopefully open up some people's eyes. If it does, great. If not,
it's all suppressed.
Enjoy watching the show.
Open everybody's eyes. CNN's not going to do it. Fox News not going to do it.
Look at the fucking guy. You can see he's an old like decrepit man who's like losing it. He can't keep train of thought. I remember years ago they're talking about, oh, this guy's going to be will he be too old to be president? And then all of a sudden we're just going to accept that this fucking dude wearing diapers is our president. I saw something today. I don't even know how I saw it. about there's a rumor going about around the Vatican about him shitting his pants when he was meeting the Pope.
Well,
the fucking president of the United States, there's a rumor that he shit his pants in the Vatican.
There's an even more disturbing picture of him. They took a group photo of all those jackals. And when Trump was there, Trump was standing dead center of all those jackals. And you knew who boss was. Biden, I don't know if you've seen the picture yet. Biden is standing on the very outside, almost like the kid that didn't make the class picture in time. Like he's just standing on the outside while everyone else is in the middle. It is truly one of the most telling photographs ever taken in political theater history.
I got you, Dave. But even if you don't like Donald Trump, and that's okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can't look at what's in the fucking office right now and be happy about that.
No. Well, that's why there's no way he got 81 million votes, because there would still be so many. That's a third of our country almost. You're going to tell me those stadiums have all those F Joe Biden chants and he got 81 million votes? Please, there'd be loyalists everywhere. You know what? I'm done. I don't even want to
talk. And that's a good wrap up, because listen, I hear I'm going to end this on this quick story. I hear my son crying again. This crying has started since I got back from the St. Lawrence River. You guys that follow this know that we rented the house, a very old Victorian house. He stayed up on the 3rd floor, and he has slept throughout the night without a light, without anything up until this point. The very first night we stayed in this house, he came down to our room screaming like he saw a freaking devil. And he can't comprehend what he saw, but we're almost 2 months now, and he has not slept through the night. He will not go to bed with the light off, and he wants his door open. And this has been ever since we stayed at that freaking house up there.
On my way back from Maryland today, I was listening to someone talking about that. You got to read Bible verses out loud throughout the house. Go out through the entire house.
I don't think it followed him. I don't think it followed him here. I think he witnessed something affected him there that's making him scared here. I don't think it's here still.
Talk to Brian off air about that. Brian will square you away.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll square you away. I'll share some shit.
It's fucking hard, dude. I mean,
well,
I wish I'd never rented that damn house. I told you guys, I don't know if I told you guys, I switched bedrooms 4 or 5 times that week because I could not feel comfortable in the bedroom.
You had the options?
Yeah, it was a big house.
Bam.
Yeah. You're dragging ghouls back home, dude. Talk to Brian.
You dropping nuts in every one of them rooms?
I just switched beds, dude, because I just didn't feel right, man.
To the windows.
And now he won't fucking sleep ever.
To the walls.
Got to get some Bible up in that house, dude. Chases them away, whether you believe in it or not.
It might not be convenient, but
Scott goes, your son's crying because you didn't take him trick-or-treating like normal parents. I'm not gonna give him all that gluten, Scott. No, I'm kidding. I took him trick-or-treating for his first time tonight. We got some candy. That's why I'm eating it all right here. So I'm trying to save his life by eating all the fucking bad food. That's how good of a dad I am. If bad food enters this house, I eat it before my kids can. That way they eat the healthy stuff.
Oh, like the now and laters and the Starbursts. That's what you leave them, and you steal all the Snickers. I got it. I get it.
All right. Damn, good show.
That was a great show.
Trav, I got a question.
Yes.
Will actually go up on your site and get saved, or is going to get deleted like every other show that I'm on?
Oh.
We'll see.
I don't see a problem with this show. I think we're good here.
Yeah, you got to keep this one.
I warned the people what could happen. I don't think we went too off topic. Here's the cool thing about anglers and fishermen. For the most part, I would say, I'm guessing 80% of them feel and think the way I do as a patriot. And I appreciate that. And I'm trying not to alienate anyone. I want to have fans from, I'm just, you know what I mean, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all.
Well, I think that's the part of nature, really. I mean, not so much that our last president was a huge outdoorsman, but his kids are, and they were in the limelight, you know, hunting, fishing, all the time. You know, and you got Biden there now, and I just don't see him, you know, being a benefit to anybody, whether it be a commercial fisherman or a tournament fisherman or just even a recreational angler.
Brody, you're just talking. You know deep down that he's a puppet for the deep state, and that's what it all comes down to. Come on, bro.
Years ago, dude.
I always, like I say, I'll go back to splitting it, positive, negative. You know, if you want to call them part of the negative faction that wants to create negative energy and you know, feel like they're going to dominate over people, it's never going to happen. And it's like the opposite. You know, the positive is never going to be totally positive because you can't have one without the other. So it's just, you know, at some point everything's going to come back to neutral, and whether that be, you know, the polar switch that creates that, or just the human race, you know, takes care of itself, which is probably what will happen and has happened through ages and ages of human civilization, from the Incas to you know, all the way up to Romans. They, you know, all their empires fell for some reason or another, and it was because of some evil faction. So yeah, I mean, you know, so if you want to say,
you know something's wrong when 10, 15 years ago you could have a discussion about politics and people accepted that and thought, well, this is an interesting conversation that we need to have as humans, as someone who's, you know, wants something better for their country. Nowadays, you say that, and people are afraid they're going to lose their sponsors. Or, I mean, not just this show. I'm just saying, like,
sure, it's bad, dude.
You can't have these conversations, and it sucks.
You know, I don't consider myself a huge business person in the sports fishing industry, but in a sense, you know, I do have a store and I have a presence. So I've had to watch, because again, I'm an educated person. So I watch my numbers and I watch my internet traffic. And if I use Facebook in a manner where I'm speaking my opinion against one of the factions, whether it be the Biden or the Trump, I would see those posts either be deleted or, you know, most of the stuff I posted, I mean, I'll get 100 likes easy. Then all of a sudden I would post something that would be maybe against, you know, the vaccine or something like that. And all of a sudden I would have like maybe 6 likes. And then I would read about the shadow banning, and they would actually somehow take my remarks from what I was doing on Facebook and somehow shadow ban me across all platforms, dude, even including eBay and the other entity, you know, sites that I would sell my product. And I could see that. So I could see what I was doing online, just speaking my, you know, using their platform. There again, I am using their platform. Yeah. And their platform makes me money. So in a sense, they can stifle me, and I can see that, and I can track it. And when I can do that, it makes me like you guys were saying, I know what's going on, but how can I stop it? How can I change it? Because
so do you have your paper?
The more I speak about it, the more they shut me down.
Cut their head.
Just this little fishing store selling, you know, Mark Davis's stuff. You know, come on now, you know. But there again, that's free enterprise. The way I was brought up, America at its best. You know, start your own company, and if you work hard and put solid effort into it, it doesn't matter who you are. You can build anything you want without an education or not. You just believe.
Brody, that's not. I'm glad you said that, because I haven't heard that in a really long time. And it just doesn't feel like that's the vibe anymore, right?
No, I know. And people, you know, you're right, because I don't get that. And it's not like it's a whole, you know, 3 or 4 generations have gone by. We're not even one generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and I, I always used to say, oh, I don't want to be like my parents, and I never want to be like my parents, and I don't think that I am. But people look at me, even sometimes my wife thinks I'm crazy, but she knows that I'm right. But how do you continue to convince people when, if it's your business, and somehow these algorithms can shut me down just for my thoughts, that
Your opinions. Yep. Yeah. No, it's, small business was supposed to be the American dream, but it sure as shit ain't what's going on now. I'm a small business owner like yourself, and Travis, you are the same. Like, your brand is your business, but it's an uphill battle. There's nothing really looking out for us. There's not benefits lined up for us, and you just feel like, it's things.
There's days where I just think I'm just spinning here, and I'm just spinning, but there again, I go back to, this positive thing. Like, I had to change my life, dude, because everything was so geared for me to make the Elite Tour. That's all it ever was. And here it is, 10 years that I've left that tour. And it probably took me half of that time to realize that was also, it doesn't really mean anything. You know what I mean? It's what means is all the people that I touched all those years. And if I just changed one kid's life to say, man, that Brody's pretty cool, maybe I will go fishing, but he always said, go get an education and get a job or get a trade, something that I value, that I enjoy, that I can make something, that I can create that positive energy to make me feel good about myself and everybody around you. And that goes a long way, because you're creating more positive energy by doing that. And that's inevitably, I'm not sure who talked about this earlier, but that is inevitably how we beat this thing in the end. And maybe I'll die, that way, but that's me. I'll always be that way.
You're right, man.
Good.
Brody, you on Instagram or anything?
No, I'm just on Facebook at Brody. Brody Broderick is the personal page. The Brody of the Lake really never took off, and everybody just kind of did for my regular page, so it's just been that. And I never really got the Instagram stuff, and I just never went down that route. And I probably should, and it would probably increase my business tenfold, but I just like to kind of keep it simple and try to stay out of the limelight. And I just try to be a simple guy. And I just got back into fishing last year. I literally took 10 years off of tournament fishing because I was depressed. I thought I was a failure. That's the way I felt. And it wasn't that way at all, because it was all scripted, and I wasn't part of that script. And I know that now, so it's easy to erase that.
There's
There's
conspiracies there's conspiracies in the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Well, I think there were, in any of the trails, the two trails back in the day, whether we can prove any of that, all those people are dead and gone now. So those contracts and those backroom scandals and things that they created, it's all hearsay, really. Is it real or not? Are all those trophies on someone's mantle really there for a reason? I've had this discussion with Ike before too. Yeah, a really good discussion. Yeah.
We had Byron on not too long ago. That was
brother from another mother.
We had Byron and Skeet on. Oh my God, that was a blast.
That was a great show. I should have watched that one. I'll go back and watch that one.
We got to dial you up, man. All right, Travis.
All right, guys. Dave, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
BTC.
Travis. Locate, catch, and win, everybody.
Alex. Long night.
Great stuff.
Get some sleep, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next week, Sunday, again, another live Sunday, and then we'll go back to regular schedule on Mondays from there on.
For Aaron Martins.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right, guys.
Brody.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Peace.
Good man.